Going live.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Getting over the hump together on this final Wednesday of June. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Hope your week's going well. Is our week going okay?
I think so.
Yeah. A couple good shows in the tank there, so to speak.
2 down, 3 to go.
Yeah. Then a little holiday weekend, except for Felipe. Bothers me. He has to come in on our days off. I want him to be able to enjoy our days off.
Usually on days like that, I bring the club, practice the chip shot putts.
Do you chip down the hallway?
Yes.
The long rectangular hallway.
Yes, but I have this little hole where it has like the Velcro things on the ground, so it sticks to the carpet.
Good to know.
You know, maybe we should, during commercial breaks, chip down the hallway.
I need all the practice I can get. Short games always needs work, David. Always needs work.
Can never put enough time in on the short game.
No, not at all.
Whether you're young, middle-aged, or older, it's tough to put time in on the short game. Miller and Moulton on this Wednesday.
Well, the trial started. It's going to end Thursday for Deshaun. They say it's going to be 3 days that this is going to last. It started yesterday. We'll go into today and may even last into Thursday.
Right. The NFL tipped their hand. They want, Pat Kerwin was right. I mean, Pat's been saying for a long time, indefinite suspension and at least a year. And that's what the NFL is asking for. And obviously, Deshaun's team is like, there's no reason that he should be suspended indefinitely. There's no precedent for something like this. And the NFL is making their case, and Deshaun Watson's making his. Jeffrey Kessler is representing Deshaun Watson. He is known as a bit of a pit bull, and David Sampson tweeted out that he was once deposed by Jeffrey Kessler, and he said, you know, you're up there a long time with Kessler. He goes, now we won. All right. So, you know, he's not as fearful as he's being made out to be, but he's very thorough. He's banging on you for a long time, so to speak.
You ever been deposed?
No.
Me either.
No.
I don't think I want to be.
I want to be a juror. I really do.
I have no interest in that either.
Huh. Really? Why not? First off, if you got stuck on jury duty, do you want it to be just a quick a couple hours down and dirty thing, or do you want to be part of, something that's damn near on the news?
You just named the reason why I have no interest in jury duty, because of the chance of getting something that could be really long and drawn out, and just no interest.
Huh.
I'd be the one I'd fall asleep and then one of the lawyers would yell. We'd probably end up with a hung jury because I would be like, no, you're wrong.
Well, I will say you would be strong with your opinion behind the scenes. You wouldn't be afraid if it was 11-0 and you felt like, no, I'm the one.
Look at page 3, paragraph 4. It's all right there.
That I grant you. You would be strong with your opinion. I really want to be part of a jury. I don't mean, it's on my bucket list or anything like that. I'd rather go to the Kentucky Derby in Wimbledon, but I would love to be part of a jury.
That's just because they give free food.
No, it has nothing to do with that. I've never thought about any of that. I would just love to be part of a jury. Come on, you can't watch over 200 episodes of Law and Order and not want to be part of a jury.
And that's 200 episodes more than I've ever watched.
Right. I mean, all of the lawyer, and I think it goes back to, there was a very short time in which, I've always wanted to be a sportscaster, but then when you're asked, well, if you can't be a sportscaster, what would you want to be? And for whatever reason, I've always been fascinated by lawyers and lawyer TV shows, more so even than lawyers. I love lawyer TV shows. Hell, I even love
to go back to like Ironside and shows like that,
yes,
right?
Don't laugh. My grandparents loved Ironside. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and I watched a lot of Ironside.
David, let me just give you a quick update. Everybody's grandparents loved Ironside. We only had 3 channels,
right?
And that was on in syndication for a while.
Yes, it was. I was even a big LA Law fan 30 plus years ago. Bunch of pretty people, well-dressed. What's there not to like? Win some, lose some.
So I can see your love for the jury.
Yeah. I would love to be a part of it. And
you'd probably demand to be foreman of the jury.
No, I know that I don't think I'd want. I think I'd just want to be, part of the group.
Juror number 7.
Yeah, I'd speak up. All right. But I think I just want to be part of the group. Well, first off, I couldn't be foreman of the jury. I'm probably not going to play by all the rules. So I would be a bad, leader by example.
Well, there's another quirk of Miller and Moulton. Moulton wants the jury.
Right.
Miller wants no part of it.
I'm curious, all right, whether it's in our Twitch chat room or text line, if anybody's been part of a jury, and if by chance you've been a part of a jury for more than a day. Also,
one of my wife's friends was put on a grand jury and was there for a while.
Huh.
Also have a guy I golf with that got stuck on a grand jury up in Boston. Was really happy about that because it was like months.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, he thought that was fantastic. Had to take like 2 months off of work to sit on a grand jury. Was beside himself with anger. Did his civic duty. May have complained about it a bit, but
right. Now Johnny Mac makes a good point. I'd probably be hungry a lot. That's true. Although, it doesn't sound like the days are long. You don't start before like 9 or 9:30. They break for lunch. All right. They're over, sometime between 4 and 5 is what I gather. Come on. How long of a day is it? Now, I will say
you get bored in a Tuesday staff meeting that lasts more than 37 minutes, and you're trying to tell me that you could sit down when the minutia of the trial's going on and someone's lying, and you're not going to jump up and say something. You're not going to roll your eyes, and the prosecutor's going to go, I got a problem with juror number 7. He's been rolling his eyes for the last 35 minutes.
And the judge would turn to me and say, sir, is there a problem? And I'd say, well, no, there's not a problem. I just think the lawyer needs to pick up his game. That's all. You know,
I mean, I've sat with you in staff meetings before. I'm sure you could do this, David.
I'm pretty sure I could do it. I have mellowed a little bit. We haven't been in a staff meeting in a while.
That's
I
a
mean,
good thing.
right. I don't know if I've been in a staff meeting in my 50s, and I'm 56. So I think I can do it. Looking forward to the chance one day. I was so close one time. I always get disqualified for being a member of the media. I mean, one of the two sides want no part of us.
That's good.
And somehow, some way, I made it through one time. And I was actually we were going to be seated as a jury. We were brought into the courtroom. And then minutes before, everyone else was going to be brought into the courtroom, they came in and said, no, they just settled. We thank you for your time. You can go. And I literally said out loud, I go, well, can't we stay for the next one? I mean, I don't get it. I mean, shouldn't it be like, the line at the deli? Okay. Call it number 37. No, you just did 37. Okay. 38. I mean, so we go from the turkey to the ham. I mean, it's okay. I don't understand. What do you mean? We can only be assigned to this case? What's wrong with the next case? I never understood that.
Never understood that, huh?
No, it doesn't make any sense to me. We're seating juries. What? We could only handle a robbery? I have no idea what the case was going to be.
Didn't you get through the lawyers first? I mean, there's a new set of lawyers. I mean, don't you have to go through the prosecutor and the lawyers when they're picking you, or did they just randomly say you're in?
No. We made it. Yeah, yes.
There's another. That's why, because there's two new people doing that.
Well, but leave us in the room. Bring two new lawyers in.
So now you're fixing our legal system.
Well, I'm not fixing it.
You just have a small problem with it based on your...
I just don't understand. I mean, at the very least, bring two new lawyers in another trial, all right, and see
if you guys are allowed to stay?
Right. I mean, at least, but to kick us all out? Seriously? Makes no sense. No sense at all. To me. But.
Miller and Moulton. Hoping you're making sense of all of this.
Anyway, do you think it was Serena's last match at Wimbledon? I don't. I think
I don't either. Again. I think I actually, she lost that on her own. She didn't get beat. I think Serena walks out when she gets beat, if you know what I mean. I watched the majority of that match. She had a 30-minute brain cramp in the first set that cost her the first set, and then late in the second set, after breaking and having an opportunity, couldn't close the deal. But it was more on her than her opponent. And that, to me, wouldn't be someone that's going to retire.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't ever think she'll win that elusive 24th slam to be tied for first all time. I don't. And I doubt that she can compete at the highest level in the sport anymore. I mean, she was losing her quickness before she got hurt and before she was idle for a year. And the other factor is that because she's now been a little vulnerable late in her career, she doesn't have the intimidation factor anymore. Like even the player that she just beat, she freaked out when she saw the draw, but she obviously didn't freak out for 3 hours on the court.
No, she had her moment, won an early game, broke an early game, then got broke back, was down 4-2, and then started playing. And
right.
And I thought was eating up center court and eating up the fact that her opponent, that she thought she could beat her. You're absolutely right.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled, marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
We could have him put Wimbledon on. This is ESPN News.
Can you put ESPN on? Thank you. Boy, the American men had a day yesterday.
Yeah, they did. Was it Tom Cruise and Demi Moore?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Lots of big stories yesterday. Could sink your teeth into, quite a few places. But it's kind of a side story. Did you see, and have you been paying attention to Freddie Freeman over the last handful of days?
With his homecoming back to Atlanta and
very emotional. I mean, he was emotional at the press conference. He was emotional on the field. He did a post-game interview live on the field Friday night in particular. He was emotional. When the 3-game series was over, he, basically said, I didn't want to leave. And, had these games circled, was looking forward to this for a long time, and professed so much love for the Braves organization in the city of Atlanta that his Dodgers teammates publicly were like, yeah, he needs to realize he's on the Dodgers now. And Clayton Kershaw was not tongue-in-cheek when he said, hopefully he'll realize he's part of a pretty good organization and a pretty good team over here.
And I think he will. He was ripping the cover off the ball before he went to Atlanta. I'm not too worried about his play.
Oh, no. He had a hit in every game in the series. Right. Yeah. But just he kept publicly talking about his love for Atlanta and the Braves. And I think by Sunday, his teammates were like, enough already.
You took the money. Shut up and play.
Yeah. They didn't want you. Well, yesterday he fired his agents. Because apparently, the story that is now being told is that Freeman was not told the negotiation strategy and as to why it is that the negotiations between he and the Braves broke down. And apparently his people gave the Braves an ultimatum. And the Braves were like, that's okay. We'll go get Matt Olson from the A's. Thanks. And so yesterday, Freeman fired his agents. Now, I think the agents still get paid on the contract. They negotiated it and what have you. So, and his agency is a huge one. I mean, they'll be fine. But the saga, in a way, continues.
That didn't throw a gallon of water on that fire. It actually threw gasoline on that fire by firing the agents.
Right.
Because it does give the impression that he would still rather be in Atlanta, all things equal.
Right. That he's angry that he's with the Dodgers. Wanted to stay with the Braves. And apparently over the weekend was kind of like, so why am I not a Brave? And the story that was released yesterday was that his agent called the Braves and said, it's either this or this, and you've got an hour. And apparently Freeman was like, that's not me. What'd you guys do? And supposedly they said, well, we thought it would work. And so Freddie fired him. And, I don't know how many people really care, if Freddie Freeman's still a Brave or not. But for what it's worth, Chipper Jones did say privately to Freddie and publicly at one point when it looked as if the Braves and Freeman were not going to work out a deal. Chipper kind of pulled him aside and said, listen, this is how it's going to work. This is what you're dealing with here. All right. I had to negotiate a few contracts with this organization. I'm just telling you, this is how it's going to go. You're going to have to accept it. And whether it was Freddie or his agents or what have you, they didn't accept the scenario that Chipper laid out, and Chipper turned out to be right. And so Freeman will finish his career as an LA Dodger.
And apparently an unhappy one.
Well, at least for a little while longer. How would you be if that was the case as a teammate? Would you be, understanding? 12 years, I think he had in
David,
Atlanta.
as a teammate, I'm looking back that I would have been in my 20s. I would have been all over him. I would have been just like Kershaw. I totally understand where the rest of the Dodgers are coming from. They don't have a lot of room in locker rooms for tears. They don't have a lot of room in locker rooms for rooting or thinking highly of other teams. It's a very close-knit group, and what they are looking for is a unified march towards whatever the goal of that team is. And I can see, David, where if I was the broadcaster for that team, I would be upset, let alone a player. Now, 52-year-old me looks at it and goes, that's pretty cool, the love he had for Atlanta and how much this actually hurt, and the emotion he's showing. I think the story's terrific that Atlanta embraced him the way they did, that he acted the way that he did. But I can tell you that a half-life ago, I wouldn't have thought that way if I would have been one of the, if I'd have been in my 20s playing. I don't know if I would have handled it the way that I am now. So I totally understand where the Dodgers are coming from. Now, I think Freddie can snap out of this pretty quickly.
I think it was by Sunday, because the Dodgers, no one said anything Friday and Saturday in the weekend series. Kershaw made his comments after Game 3 on Sunday, or right before Game 3, one or the other, because it was a night game on Sunday. Dodgers have lost 2 in a row to Colorado since the Braves series. I will say the schedule maker didn't do him any favors, though. You play Sunday night, and then you got to go to Colorado and play from Atlanta to Colorado. And then your Sunday night game goes long, too. It started an hour before Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals, and Colorado was skating around with the cup before the Braves-Dodgers game ended.
So I totally get where the Dodgers are coming from, but I do think this is something that will pass rather quickly. Nothing like a little win streak, win a couple here against Colorado, get things going, and David, this goes away in a hurry.
One other baseball note. Did you hear about the injury in the brawl? The Sunday brawl between the Angels and Mariners? Archie Bradley, a pitcher for the Angels, apparently broke his pitching elbow. Want to know how he did it? Not throwing a punch, not getting thrown to the ground. Nope. Apparently, Mark, the maneuver when you go from in the dugout to out of the dugout and you put your hands on the little half railing there and you
hop the boards.
There you go. Somehow, some way, I don't know if he got it caught or fell.
Broke his elbow.
Pitching elbow. I mean, trust me, it would suck breaking your non-pitching elbow, but I don't even know if you could pitch with that. I would think you could, though, or at least give it a try. But, yeah. That doesn't heal quickly.
No. Probably
I mean,
done for the year.
Good 2 months, right? And there's 3 months left in the season, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. Hopping out of the dugout.
And David, we talked about this brawl on Monday and how we would if you wanted to end this, it's really easy. You go David Stern. You leave the bench, and David brought this up. 10 games, 20 games, whatever it is you want to give for them leaving the bench, and this is over with. But David and I are both convinced that the league has no desire to do that they deep down, if held to the truth, would say, no, these are good. We're good with these. We're good with a couple a year.
I definitely would not let anybody leave the bullpen, though. That I would do. If we're sitting around and you're like, it's not the bad thing. We got on Sports Center and we got people talking about it and what have you. I'd be like, okay, but I can't have guys running 100 yards and getting all worked up. And then, after 100 yards, they want to hit somebody. No. Can't have that. Nope. Sorry. It might be a reason.
Just running. If I were a bullpen, catcher, bullpen arm, I'd be running to the other bullpen. Why do I want to run all this way when I can just run 20, 30 yards?
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Right. DC, here's my problem with the whole warnings before the game. I don't think that would have changed a thing. The Angels are going to stick up for Trout nearly getting hit in the head. They had made that determination before the game. Oh, Adam, we both understand where Freeman's coming from. Patrick Reed resigned from the PGA Tour. Koepka, Perez, and Answer didn't. But I wouldn't resign just because you don't know how this thing's going to work out.
I wouldn't resign because what am I doing to my pension? That's my only worry. I don't know how that.
Well, I'm guessing that the minute they suspend you, you're not getting any more benefits.
Boy, I find that interesting when you put your time in. I don't care about benefits. I care about my pension.
Well, but don't you think they just stop it? That the PGA Tour will say,
I don't know.
right? But that, see, to me,
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. If you resign from the tour, what are you doing to are you resigning part of your pension? I don't know what their rules are. I don't know why they're resigning versus the ones that aren't.
yeah, I don't either. Well, the only thing by resigning is what we talked about a week or so ago, which is if by chance the majors go along with, boycotting, saying those that are suspended from the PGA Tour can, no longer
Yeah,
play. And then the golfer can go, well, I'm not a member of the PGA Tour.
and I don't ever see the majors doing that.
And Reed did yesterday say, I would like to think I could play the Masters for the rest of my life. Those are the rules. He goes, but it's their tournament. Oh, yeah, Adam. The PGA Tour and its media partners, they are totally, yes, they are. This is getting very ancestral.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Top of the morning to you. Happy hump day. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Got a lot to get to today, so I'm not messing around. It is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Should I go get breakfast?
it's up to you.
Go do your thing.
I mean, there's a lot of meat on the bone here. You might want to chime in.
Okay, I didn't know.
We'll start with college football. Who'd have thunk it at the end of June? But the ACC revamped their schedule yesterday. It won't go into effect this year. It will start in 2023. You know how sometimes they say teams play the 3-3-5 defense? Well, the ACC is going with the 3-5-5 schedule. 14 teams in the conference. Every school has been designated 3 opponents that they will play every year. Miami's 3 are Florida State, BC, and Louisville. Florida State's 3 are Miami, Clemson, and Syracuse. Florida State, it's not the Clemson part that I think really bothers them, even though obviously that's a tough opponent. It's losing Georgia Tech every year. Florida State, I mean, they have a huge outreach into Atlanta. They put a lot of time and effort into that whole booster organization, if you will. I'll bet you this has got them honked off.
Yeah, so you get to go to Syracuse every other year. Yippee!
Yeah, what does that do for you?
No.
Right. Now, I will say, if you're a Canes fan, I mean, outside of Florida State, who were the 2 that you wanted to play every year?
No idea. I mean, seriously.
Right.
Felipe?
Yeah. And you're a young Canes fan, so you don't go way back with a lot of these schools, but I'm just curious. All right.
When you looked at the schedule, did you go, okay? Were you upset?
Not really.
You saw Florida State and didn't care, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the BC thing, there's some history there, I guess.
It starts in 2023, and then what you'll do with the other 10 teams is you'll play 5 one year, the other 5 the next, then so every 4 years you will play every team in the conference home and home.
Right. Every 2 years you'll have a home and home.
Right. Hence the 3, 5.
I like this system. It's 8 conference games. This is what I think the Big Ten should do. I know they're set on 9 conference games. I think this is the simplest system to get the fan base all of the teams.
Roddy Jones, who played for Georgia Tech, works for ESPN and the ACC network. He will join us in an hour to talk about the new ACC schedule. NFL news. The league and Deshaun Watson argued their side before retired federal district judge Sue Robinson yesterday as to how long Watson's suspension should be. The NFL is arguing A, at least a year, B, indefinitely. Watson's side is claiming there is no precedent for why he should have an indefinite suspension. The arguments are expected to continue today and tomorrow. It seems like for 3 years, we've been talking about who's going to be broadcasting Sunday Ticket in 2023. There was a report last night that says it's down to 3: Amazon, Apple, and Disney.
Yeah, DirecTV's out again.
If that's the case, it's down to Amazon, Apple, and Disney. My money's on Apple because the NFL's not in business with Apple. They're in business with Amazon and they're in business with Disney. And the NFL's into new partnerships. NFL looking for $2.5 billion a year for Sunday Ticket. DirecTV was paying $1 billion. Just so you know. Salary cap's going up, folks. The new money doesn't even kick in yet. The cap this year is $208.2 million. I think next year the cap could be $230, $240, and go up $20 million a year for the rest of our lives. Wimbledon. 40-year-old Serena Williams ousted in the first round by Harmony Tan of France, ranked 114th in the world. Serena lost a third set tiebreaker 10-7. Serena served for the match at 5-4 in the third and then led 4-0 in the tiebreaker before losing. And you wonder, will that be your last match at Wimbledon? Winners yesterday, Swiatek, the number 1 seed on the women's side, her 36th win in a row, longest winning streak on tour in 25 years. 11th-seeded Coco Gauff needed 3 sets, but she won. Sloane Stephens lost. Men's side, Nadal needed 4 sets to win. The 6th seed was ousted. Elisa Mee upset by American Maxime Cressy. NBA, and you're going to get a lot of NBA news for the next week to 10 days. It's not a bumper free agent crop, but there's still going to be a lot of news. The Knicks made a trade yesterday with the Pistons, sending Alex Burks, who's a nice wing shooter and defender, and Nerlens Knowles, who's a big man, who's a good defender, to Detroit for 2 second-round picks and $6 million is what the Pistons get. The Knicks cleared $19 million in cap room because they are going to offer Mavs guard Jalen Brunson 4 years and $100 million to leave Dallas and join the Knicks. He can do so as early as tomorrow evening. That's when free agency officially gets underway. By the way, one other NBA note, Will Hardy is the new coach of the Utah Jazz. He was a Celtics assistant this year. Danny Ainge, former boss of the Celtics. Yeah. Will is 34 years old. It'll make him the youngest head coach in the league.
5-year deal, right?
5 years with the Jazz. And, of course, don't know what direction the Jazz are going to go. Are they going to keep Donovan Mitchell? Is he going to ask out? Baseball. Rays lost to the Brewers at the Trop, 5-3. Milwaukee with 4 in the 6th on a pair of 2-run homers. Rays would be in the playoffs, even though they're in 4th place in the East, if the playoffs started today, they're a game and a half ahead of the Guardians. Marlins lost again. That's 4 out of 5. St. Louis beat them 5-3, scoring 4 times in the 5th. Cards are a half a game back of the Brewers. Yankees won for the 15th time in 19 games. Boone was ejected, arguing balls and strikes. 2-1 Yankees over Oakland. That's the best team in the league against the worst team in the league. Toronto beat Boston, scoring 2 in the 9th. Vladdy Jr. with a walk-off RBI single to win it. Toronto's now in second place, a half a game ahead of the Red Sox in the East. I still think they're 12.5 behind the Yankees. 6-5 the final. Astros hit 3 homers, bombed the Mets 9-1. Braves moved to within 4 of the Mets with a 5-3 win over the Phillies. Matt Olson, Freddie Freeman's replacement, hit 2 homers. Twins
Did not cry, however,
No,
after
he didn't.
hitting either home run.
Oh, and he's very happy to be in Atlanta. Twins and Guardians split a doubleheader. Cleveland won the first one 3-2. Twins and nightcap 6-0. So the Twins leading the division remains 3. Colorado 7-4 over the Dodgers. Kershaw gave up 6 runs in 4 innings. Dodgers lead is still a game and a half on the Padres, who blew a 6-0 7th inning lead. Gave up 4 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th. Arizona beat them 7-6. White Sox all over the Angels 11-4. Texas Rangers are a game under 500. They were once 9 or 10 games below 500 this year. 8-3 over Kansas City. Marcus Semien with a homer and 4 RBIs. Reds 5-3 over the Cubs. Giants 4-3 over the Tigers. Nats 3-1 over the Pirates. Seattle 2-0 over the Orioles. And finally, Mark, golf. PGA Tour is rallying the troops, baby.
Boy, threw more money out yesterday.
PGA Tour and the DP World Tour.
Yep.
Formerly known as the European Tour. They strengthened and extended their alliance. PGA Tour said, hey, if you finish in the top 10 on the European Tour, we'll give you a tour card. Congratulations. Matthew Fitzpatrick, who just won the U.S. Open, it took him till 2019 to earn his PGA Tour card, even though he had finished in the top 10 on the European Tour for 4 years. So, that's one of the subtle differences there. I don't know why the European Tour would be in favor of this.
I don't either.
So you're going to lose your top players sooner? Also, the PGA Tour announced that instead of the top 25 on the Korn Ferry Tour getting tour cards, the top 30 are going to get tour cards. They also then announced Tour Q School. I think top 5 on Q School automatically, if they don't have their card.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, they don't have, if they're at Q School, they don't.
Right.
Yeah, they don't.
So, but
But
my
they're
thing.
skipping the Korn Ferry because what they did
Right.
is they sent the Q School guys right to the Korn Ferry. Now they're taking the top 5,
And they're
taking them right on the tour because
Right.
what just happened was the DP World Tour signed this number 2 amateur.
The LIV Tour did.
The LIV Tour signed this number 2 amateur in the world.
Yeah, Chikara.
And the PGA Tour is looking at him going, if they're going to go after amateurs, because think about it. If you're an amateur going to the PGA Tour, you don't have status. You got to go to Q School. Then you got to go play on the Korn Ferry.
Correct.
You want to try to earn a living?
Right.
Go play on the Korn Ferry Tour. Good luck where you got to shoot 63
In the
4 times every week to just make money.
In the first LIV event, they had 2 of the top 10 amateurs in the world that played. Now, they remained amateurs. I mean, one of them was 15 years old. But also, they bought out James Pyatt, the kid who won the NCAA championship the year before from Michigan State. And he didn't have any tour status. And the LIV series said, well, here's a, $3-4 million or whatever it is. And why don't you join our tour? So, yeah, that's the other part of it. They're going after the veterans, the established players, but they're also trying to kind of have a feeder system of young guys. And so the PGA Tour trying to put a kibosh on that. Also, the PGA Tour is now 40% invested in the DP World Tour through 2035. Also, the PGA Tour is going to go back to their old schedule, but they're also moving it up. I don't know if you noticed. It's not next year, by the way. The new schedule is not going to start until January of 24. But they announced yesterday that it's going to be January through August, not even September. Because, September's been, FedEx Cup playoffs month. It lingered into the beginning of football season. And PGA Tour yesterday all but said, we're going to be done before football.
And now they've been done before football. This year as well, they'll be done before football. They shortened it up. But the Ryder Cup and some of that stuff was carried over.
But I think the Tour Championship extends into the football season. I think the playoffs extends into very early in the football season. Because are they done Labor Day weekend? And granted, it's a college football season done, but to stay away from the NFL, you have to be done Labor Day weekend. And maybe this year they are, but like when Tiger won the Tour Championship, the NFL was going on. That was like week 2.
Yeah, but it's the Tour Championship's August 25th through the 28th. They moved this up a couple of years ago, and because I remember us talking about it, Tiger was the first one that said after they did it and went, well, yeah, stay away from football. That seems smart.
Well, the other thing is part of the feedback they've gotten from the golfers is like, hey, season's too long. Can you shorten it? Can we have a little bit more of an off season? So there you have it. You think it's working, by the way? All right. Do you think what the PGA Tour has done here is working? They've done a lot of things in the last 2 weeks. They've adopted about 4 things that the LIV series is doing, and then they're rallying the troops here.
I don't know. I'm not trying to avoid I don't know if it's working yet, because right now it seems that both tours are still grabbing players. They're both trying to make concessions to get more players. The LIV Tour getting these amateurs and their methodology of trying to go after young players interests me. That would affect the PGA Tour. I think the PGA Tour has been reactionary, and I think some of the players on the tour look at this as reactionary and going, why is it because of this tour? All the things we've been asking for 5 years, now you're doing it. So I don't know how it's going to sit with the rank and file. You and I have talked about it. These new top 50 events that they've put in place did not make golfers 51 through 70 all that happy. So I'm not trying to dodge the question, but I don't think we have enough information to be able to give an answer yet.
The one thing that the DP World Tour did say yesterday was that they are not going to suspend players from their tour who play on the LIV series. Pelly is the commissioner of that tour. He went out of his way to say, I haven't talked to Jay Monahan about it, and they're doing their thing, we're doing ours. So it seemed as if they're leaving the door open for the Sergios of the world to play their tour.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles Or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local, eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Out to him. We want to stay football. I don't know what else.
You want to do that in the middle, or you want to do it now?
I'd rather do the schedule now. I think the schedule. I don't think there's a whole lot with them. I don't think the Bakers. I mean, we can make it into one,
Yeah, but that's fine.
or we can do that at 8.
So we'll have a.
We can do the schedule here, Baker at 8.
Well, we could do the schedule, Baker schedule, and then we're at 8:00, and or we could do schedule little NBA 10-minute deal.
Okay. Should the poll question be?
Do you like the 3-5-5?
Yeah.
Or isn't this what the Big Ten's going to do? Isn't this what
That's what the proposal's been. But that's 8 conference games. They've always had 9.
Right.
Maybe they're going back to 8. I would.
Oh, I wouldn't, but
Why
I don't
wouldn't
know.
you?
I don't know how their media partners would allow them to, especially with what they're asking for financially. If I was Fox and whoever else, I'd be like, we need more games, not less.
You like the ACC's revamped football schedule?
Yeah, and then you can put in parentheses after revamp 3-5-5. They lost 55-45.
That was a close ass poll.
No. 51-49 is a close ass poll.
Maybe.
You got beat. You want to trade your car in?
Oh yeah, I need a more manly car now.
Well, in Shimko, that's what we're going to ask. I'm with you. I mean,
Ooh, that's I was thinking about that afterwards. Virginia Tech Miami is always pretty easy.
I thought they got Virginia Tech's right, though.
I hate Virginia Tech. Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day, final Wednesday of June. Thanks so much for being with us here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Roddy Jones, who played at Georgia Tech, he's part of the ESPN ACC network family. He will join us coming up in a little less than 40 minutes to talk, Mark, about a pretty big story yesterday, which affects a few people who are listening along the Florida Sports Network because, well, they're Canes and or Knowles fans, but the ACC getting rid of divisions. So last chance.
First off, goodbye. Goodbye, Coastal.
Well, and it's great for us because we could never remember who what. Don't know why that was, but we never could remember. We knew what teams were in what, but, if you ask me right now, put me on the spot, I literally would be guessing as to, I think Miami's in the Coastal and the Knowles are in the Atlantic.
Which makes a lot of sense.
I think.
Yeah, think about it. No. It's not bad as legends and leaders. But I think Atlantic and Coastal got much more of a pass than it should have for bad division names.
You're right. They did benefit from legends and leaders. So they're going with what's called the 3-5-5 schedule. The three are the three teams that you will play every year. Florida State's going to play Miami, Clemson, and Syracuse. I think the Florida State hierarchy, I don't know about the fan base, but I'm pretty sure the Florida State hierarchy upset they lost Georgia Tech yearly. They've, Atlanta's pretty close to them. I mean, it's closer than Miami. And
the good news is that Clemson's so close to the greater Atlanta area.
All right.
That you can still get your Atlanta fan base at the Clemson game.
Okay. But that's every other year, but I got it.
Well, it would have been every other year at Georgia Tech.
Well, and with the current schedule, obviously. So, yeah, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Miami, of course, plays Florida State every year. And then they get BC and Louisville. Now, we had Shimko, I believe it was, in our Twitch chat room, who said, as a Canes fan, I'm pretty bummed to be losing Virginia Tech. And they've had some big games with the Hokies over the years. They have. So, BC and Louisville are the other two, besides obviously the Knowles. The team that makes out the best from a inferior opponent standpoint is apparently Pitt.
I thought that when I read through it. They get BC, Syracuse, and Vodtech.
And apparently during this playoff era, those three schools have won 38% of their games against Power 5 opponents.
I thought it was either Pitt or Wake Forest because Wake Forest gets Duke, Georgia Tech, and Vodtech.
By the way, think about what they did. I mean, yeah, they gave them Duke, but, you got Carolina and NC State right there, and they don't give Wake Forest either one of those two. They give them just Duke. Okay, which granted, from a win-loss standpoint, probably a good thing. But I'm guessing if you're a Wake Forest alum, you're like, wait, what?
I will tell you, having lived in the Triangle area, Wake Forest, and I know they've been better, but Wake Forest was never thought of, hardly even in basketball. The Triangle kept it pretty close with that NC State, Duke, and North Carolina, and the rivalry was those schools.
You can always count on that trio of Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, and Pitt to have one crazy upset win a year.
And also lose one or two games that they shouldn't be losing. It's
Exactly.
part of their charm.
Yep.
But, listen, quite a few schools, fan bases are upset about this. And usually when there's change, people are upset. You like the concept, though.
I do. I think this. Look, if you're going to play 8 conference games
Instead of 9.
This is the only way to go. The only way to go.
When you have a 14-team conference.
Right.
Now, the Big Ten, which is also a 14-team conference, they are considering something similar in which they're going to pick out their 3 opponents that certain schools are going to play every year. Before we get to that, if you're the Gators and the SEC did something like this, who's the 3?
Georgia, Tennessee,
and
I think Florida fan right now is saying LSU because they've started that, and I think they like that.
So you think that would be if Florida got a vote, which I don't think they will.
They
if
won't.
They go to this. And also the SEC is going to 16. And, we think the only thing they're going to do, they may go to 4 14 pods. And so then you vote as to who's going to be in your pod. And we think Florida, obviously Florida and Georgia. And we think also, Tennessee could not be in the pod.
Totally.
We think there's a chance where there's a pod that is the 2 Alabama schools and the 2 Tennessee schools.
Which would give you maybe a Kentucky, South Carolina,
Correct.
Georgia, Florida.
There you go. Which I don't think is awful by any stretch. All right. But it would mean that you're not playing Tennessee every year. And that's been a pretty big game.
The other side of it is, what if it's just one rivalry game?
Well, you mean kind of how they do it now with the crossover.
Right.
Well, I'm guessing the Florida fan would be like, we got to play Georgia.
I understand that. But I literally, my son's a diehard Dog fan. I said, okay, pick one, Florida or Auburn, because the Georgia-Auburn thing's a big deal to the Georgia fan base. It's the oldest rivalry in the South.
Right.
They take a lot of pride in that rivalry.
Right.
And he said, you'd split a fan base. He goes, you really would. He goes, there'd be a lot of upset people no matter who you chose.
Well, think about this. If we do the pods that we're talking about, you got the Alabama and the Tennessee schools in the one pod, and then the Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Kentucky in the other. Well, Georgia and Auburn would stop playing one another every year.
Correct.
It's not only the oldest rivalry in the South, I believe it is now the one that has been played the most consecutive years because they didn't. What was it? The Axe?
Yes.
With the pandemic didn't get played the one year. And I thought that maybe it was Georgia Auburn that, leapt to the front of the, hey, we've played
continuous rivalry.
Right. So 3-5-5 with the ACC. And I got to admit, maybe it's me, but when I look at the teams and who they all got, to me, it's tough to find a school that got the 3 that they really wanted, if you know what I mean. I don't think there's a school that looks at this and goes, man, this is perfect. This is exactly the 3 that we would want. It just seems at best schools went 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah, I think North Carolina got who they wanted. 100%. Duke, NC State, and Virginia. North Carolina and Virginia is a big rivalry.
So you think it's bigger than North Carolina Wake?
Yes.
Okay.
I think Clemson's reasonably happy.
Florida State, Georgia Tech,
and NC State.
All right. Curious how Canes and Knowles fans feel. Once again, Miami, you're going to get the Knowles, but then you're getting BC and Louisville.
And Florida State, you get Miami, but then you get Clemson and Syracuse. You can text the show. The keyword is FSN Radio, all one word. Text that to 21,000. FSN Radio to 21,000 if you haven't done so before. If you have, you know the drill. Text your thoughts, ACC fan, on the new schedule. It is our poll question already. Look at that. Huh?
All right.
Do you like the ACC's revamped 3-5-5 football schedule? Yes or no? Simple as that.
By the way, how did yesterday's poll question fare?
Not well for our producer.
Uh-oh.
Not well for our producer at all. 55% of our audience says that he drives a chick car. It's a really sharp chick car.
Yeah, that's what I keep on hearing. Oh, it's nice, but it's still a chick car.
It is nice. I like your car a lot. When you get a girlfriend and you let her drive it, it'll look fantastic.
Oh, looks like I'm trading in my car.
Miller and Moulton. People have asked, what about Notre Dame concerning the ACC? It's not a conference game. So it's our belief that the way the schedule works now with Notre Dame is going to continue. They'll play, 5 ACC teams a year? That's the contractual obligation. So it doesn't count as a conference game. The only time it did was the pandemic year. And sure enough, they played for the conference championship against Clemson. So I think going forward, 8 conference games is not the way to go, particularly for the ACC. And here's why. They are going to be fighting to get on television. And we've talked about this for a while. This ESPN beginning in 2024 owning the rights to all the SEC games. I mean, the SEC is going to get priority over the ACC in every single instance. So where are the ACC games going to appear other than the ACC network? I mean, honestly, Greg Sankey is going to pick up the phone and call ESPN if all of a sudden they're like, why is my game being regionalized? I don't care about the Georgia Tech Florida State game. Get it off.
Be a lot of noon deuce ACC games.
And that, or regional at noon. I don't know how they're going to get good time slots from ESPN. I really don't. And they're locked in for 13 more seasons. I worry about the future of the ACC football. I really do.
Now, they're getting far more money than the Big 12 or the Pac-12.
Now, but they won't be in the next couple of years when both those conferences redo their TV deals. And they're locked in till 2033, 34. I'm worried about the future of the ACC. I really am. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Interesting. I'm reading J.P. Peterson's string of tweets yesterday about the stadium because there was a
What?
oh, I didn't. When I see the headsets on, you looking the other way. I figured you weren't even paying attention.
No, what?
Well, just that they're not the Ybor City's out, but they're not negotiating good faith. They're trying to negotiate with St. Pete again about a newer stadium. But this guy says they're not fine in downtown St. Pete. Only about 700,000 people can drive there in 30 minutes. And that's MLB's lowest 30-minute population, hands down. Pittsburgh's PNC Park is the next lowest on this list. And it has twice as many people within a 30-minute drive as a Trop. I mean, that's...
There you go. There you go.
And PNC Park has public transportation that you can get, multitudes of ways to get downtown without having to drive a car, which St. Pete obviously does not have.
Where's that story? Or is that from?
There's no story with.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Roddy Jones, former standout player in the ACC, part of the ESPN ACC network, will join us in about 20 minutes to talk about the ACC's revamped schedule. Seth Everett to join us next hour as well. Poll question, floridasportsnetwork.com. Do you like the ACC's revamped 3-5-5 schedule? 3 guaranteed opponents every year, the same ones. And then with the other 10 teams in the conference, you'll play 5 one year, 5 the next, home 1 year, away the next. And that's every 4 years you'll play every other team in the conference at home. So there.
Do you like the concept of the 3-5? Well,
Yes.
I mean, even for the Big Ten, let's say.
I don't think the Big Ten. There's a part of me that thinks 3 is one too many. That most schools, it's tough to find 3 teams. Oh, we got to play these 3 teams every year.
I'm with you. A lot of the West schools would want 3 in the Big Ten.
Well, yeah, because they want their shot to try to get Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. It's a draw, and they'd want them on their schedule every other year, I think. But, there's a part of me that wonders, can you put something together with 2? I don't know if you can. But if whatever gets me 9 conference games, okay, because I think I have to get the most money out of the networks, Mark, I think I have to produce the most inventory. Because I know if I'm Fox, and if we're just talking Big Ten for a second, they're the dominant media partner. Everybody's expecting them to continue to be the number 1 media player. And
considering the people from Fox are in on the negotiations with the Big Ten, I think that's pretty safe to say.
And they own 50% of the Big Ten network. Is it more now?
Yeah, I think they own 61% of it.
Good
so
for them.
So they're like the 2 head Fox people. Look, it's the Big Ten commissioner, the deputy commissioner, and the 2 Fox Sports executives are the people sitting down and negotiate. And so Fox is getting the Big Ten. That's just
right.
That's done.
It's a matter of who their number 2 media partner is going to be. It's ESPN now. There's some thought that it's going to be someone different here, and it'll be announced before this season starts. The deal won't go into effect until the 2023 season, so it really doesn't matter when they announce it. But I think you need to provide more inventory to get the most money from your media partner. But it's been proven SEC only plays 8, ACC only plays 8, less conference games you play, less chance of a loss.
And better chance of getting more teams into the playoff. And that's what this is all about. And that's why I don't think the Big Ten's locked on playing 9 games. First off, you can't do this 3-5-5 scheduling
and play
9 games. You can't do a 2-6 scheduling and play 9. It doesn't work. The math doesn't work.
I would be surprised if Fox would go along with that. But, we'll see. I just don't like who Miami and Florida State got. I really don't. I really don't like who the Canes got. I mean, besides the Knowles, BC and Louisville, I don't think that does anything to a Canes fan. I really don't.
What would have?
For Vatech, I think. I really do. And, one of the Carolina schools. They didn't get any of the 2 Carolina, nobody from those states, North and South Carolina. Now you can argue if Florida State got Clemson. Okay. See, I'm okay with getting a tough draw because it's a good game. And every other year we're going to get them at our place. I like that.
Well, I think from Florida State's standpoint, they look at it and go, well, who do we have to beat to start beating us again anyhow? And it's Clemson. So the good news is we get them every single year. We're going to be able to measure our program every single year against what right now is the perennial program in the conference.
And remember, when Clemson started this renaissance, they had to go through Florida State. That was the team at the top on their side. That was the team at the top, period. But that's all. I voted yes, by the way, in the poll question. Do you like the schedule? But I always give my reason as to why when I vote. I always, quote tweet, if you will. So I vote and I tell people my vote and, and here's why. And I said, I basically did it reluctantly. I really don't like who the Canes got. If I was a Canes season ticket holder, it'd be like, man, this doesn't do anything for me. We were getting the Noles every other year at home anyway. But
a little list came out yesterday, David, and the list you and I have been waiting for. I know you don't like lists for the most part, but this is a list you like because it's an injury list.
Okay.
Lightning general manager pointed out what was going on with the Tampa Bay Lightning as they were playing in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, yesterday was the day that the Lightning players, coaches, staff met with the media one final time. They're cleaning out the locker. They're going home.
So Britton Point had a tear in his quad.
A tear.
A tear.
And he actually came back and played in the finals.
Right.
Right.
Bellemare had a meniscus going into the playoffs, played with it throughout the postseason.
Right. 2 months on a meniscus.
Cirelli had an AC joint sprain. He's going to need surgery in his shoulder.
Okay. Well, it's a good thing hockey's not a physical sport. Playing every other day for 2 months.
McDonough finger. Kucherov had a meniscus.
McDonough's finger injury happened in the conference final against the Rangers. I think it was game 5.
Kucherov had a meniscus. Nick Paul Perry had AC joint sprains, and Paul CL sprain as well.
Who had the broken foot? Somebody had a broken foot. Is it Cirelli?
I don't have that in here, and I know you're right because I did see one.
I mean, one of the Lightning players had a broken foot.
Where is it? And I apologize. You're right.
I thought it was Cirelli.
It wasn't in the TSN article, and I apologize. But you're right. No, it was Hagel.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hagel.
Yeah, that's one we didn't mention. He took a puck off the foot and suffered a fracture. That was in the second round.
Oh, he only played another like 5+ weeks on a broken foot. Right. Mm-hmm.
The NHL will be listing their injuries today, and they'll be significant as well, although not as bad as the Tampa Bay Lightning injury list.
And they'll have a parade tomorrow to make themselves feel better with their injury list.
Cirelli dislocated his other shoulder in the final as well, as he had the AC joint on one side and he dislocated the other. But don't worry, he came back in and played.
Right. Well, it's a good thing he wasn't part of the checking line or anything. We love that sport. Didn't we ask the question, who's tougher, NFL or NHL? And obviously, there's no wrong answer. They're both tough as you know what. But, man, it's just the 2-month, every other day, basically on average grind. It's why it's so important if you can get a short series, because this might be the only time you get off, so to speak. Banged up shoulders, basically, knees that damn near require surgery. Broken foot.
Played 5 weeks.
And it's out there.
How much fun must that feel with a broken foot every time you're blocking a shot, taking a slash, because it's not like they stop blocking shots in the postseason.
No. They don't give the necessary effort. They don't get to play. Remember, they're not earning a salary during these playoffs either. It's just playoff bonus money. That's it.
And the money's not worth the pain. But Lord Stanley is.
Damn right. Damn right. That's why we love the sport so much. And it's always great when you compare this list to what the official injury list was during the playoffs, and one has nothing to do with the other. Roddy Jones next.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Like everything else, TikTok figures out what you like. So I was doing about a half hour just watching videos. 1975 version of 10th Avenue Freeze Out in London by Bruce came on.
How long ago?
75. Clarence in a white suit with a top hat. Oh my God, the iPhone was released today in 2007? How come it didn't show that in the main thing? Huh.
Died. Stay in 03.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Seth Everett 1 hour from now. Make sure you go to floridasportsnetwork.com and vote in our poll question. Do you like the ACC's revamped 3-5-5 schedule? Yay or nay? floridasportsnetwork.com. Roddy Jones, former standout at Georgia Tech. He covers the ACC for ESPN and the ACC Network. You can follow Roddy on Twitter at RoddyJones20. RoddyJones20. Roddy, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this again. How are you?
David, Mark, I am fantastic. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, it is our pleasure as always. Well, we'll ask you our poll question. Do you like the revamped schedule?
I do, and I like it for a lot of reasons. I think primarily I thought we were doing student athletes in the conference a disservice by not having them play everyone in the conference over the course of their time there. When I was a student athlete, which, it's like back in my day, we only had 12 teams, and you were able to see everybody. The only team in the conference I didn't play against was Maryland, and they played them the year that I was redshirted, and the year after I left. That's also the only team that I didn't play at. So, the ability to see everybody in the league, I think is a helpful recruiting tool for the league. Knowing that you're going to play Clemson, you're going to play Florida State, you're going to play Miami at some point. So I really do like it. I also think, if you're projecting forward, will it help with college football playoff stuff? Probably. It certainly can't hurt if the teams are good enough. It certainly won't hurt, but also it'll give you a better product once you come to the championship game. So maybe you can start to build back up the anticipation for that as well.
The one thing it doesn't do, however, though, Roddy, is it's 8 games versus 9. A lot, the Big Ten plays 9. Is it an advantage in your estimation to play 8 conference games?
I don't know about an advantage, but I think understanding the reason that the ACC is going to be hesitant to do it is big. Look, the Big Ten doesn't have to worry about the out-of-conference rivalries and neither does the Pac-12, and neither does the Big 12, that the ACC has to worry about for its 4 schools that are preserved at the end of November, with Georgia Tech, Louisville, Kentucky, Clemson, South Carolina, and then obviously Florida and Florida State. So I think the going to 9 conference games, while it would help for inventory purposes, I don't think it's a pressing need for the league. I think the league is doing a pretty decent job of scheduling some big out of conference matchups. And so adding another conference game would probably take the place of those. I don't think teams are going to be signing up for 10 Power 5 games. So I think all in all, while a lot of people, I think the SEC is obviously going to do something with theirs. The ACC might be the only one left out, or maybe it'll change then. But I think 8's fine for now.
Roddy, you played at Georgia Tech. Were you happy with the 3 that the Yellow Jackets got? Clemson, Louisville, Wake Forest. You know, when you saw that list, was there one school in particular that you went, damn, we're not going to play them every year?
I think if there was that one, if you're a Georgia Tech fan, I think you wanted to see Florida State on the list, just because it's the second closest school to Georgia Tech. There's a big Florida State fan base in Atlanta. So I think Florida State was the one. I've heard a lot from Georgia Tech fans that they wanted Virginia Tech on the list because of the rivalry that sort of developed with that school over the course of its time in the ACC. And that rivalry was mostly forged, kind of in my time at Georgia Tech. It hasn't exactly been for the Coastal Division like it was for the first, I believe, 7 years of the Coastal. It was one of the two Techs, but I think those were the two. I am not unhappy with the schools that Georgia Tech got. You preserved Clemson, which I think was always going to happen. I really like the addition of Louisville as one of those. I think there's some real potential for a rivalry there with Louisville being, Georgia Tech being the second closest ACC school to Louisville. It's the easiest drive because the closest ACC school to Louisville is Virginia Tech and Blacksburg. And, I don't know if anybody for the conference is listening, but I'm not a fan of neutral site games for the most part, but I think it'd be really cool to play that game in Nashville. It's about 3.5, 4 hours from both schools. You can sort of stoke the rivalry there. Both fan bases love to travel to Nashville. So I think there's some cool things you could do with Georgia Tech and Louisville. So while, I think Florida State's probably the one that people wanted the most, Virginia Tech second, out of the ones that you didn't get, I think there's some potential with that rivalry with Louisville.
Do you think that this is something that would last past the next playoff expansion? Do you think this is how the ACC goes indefinitely, or at least, let's say, through the end of their ESPN contract?
It's a great question. I think that I hope that the league keeps this model. I don't know what the league's plans are with the permanent rivals or the 5 rotators. If the group of 5 that you get is going to rotate at all. I hope so that you're not stuck sort of with the same prediction, or the being able to predict the same ones over and over, up until the TV contract is up to 2036. But I think the model is here to stay, and I think the model is going to work well. I think the regularity that you will see people with is enough to have people happy with that. So I think the model is certainly here to stay, and likely the permanent partners. You want that to last a decade so that you can figure out some of those rivalries and have those fan bases get to know each other. But I don't know about the rotating the other 5s, like if those groups are static or if they're going to change, after 2026, which is the schedule that they've announced for this out.
He's Roddy Jones, former standout at Georgia Tech. Now he covers college football for ESPN and the ACC network. You can follow Roddy on Twitter, Roddy Jones 20, Roddy Jones 20. Roddy, this is something we've been harping on for a little while, and I don't bring this up to put you in a bad spot, but we are concerned about the ACC and how many of their games are going to get wide exposure beginning in 2024 when ESPN becomes the sole broadcast partner for the SEC. We're worried, well, where are the ACC games going to be besides the ACC network, if you know what I mean? Our fear for the ACC is that the SEC is going to get all of the great slots because ESPN, probably sold out to them. And I'm just wondering, as a proud member of the ACC, are you at all concerned that the ACC games are going to get, not as prime slots, whether it's a prime time game or a 3:30 slot, as to what they've had now for a generation?
Absolutely. I think everything that comes that has to do with TV and money with the league and its future, I am concerned about. And if you're not concerned about it, then you hadn't been watching or listening what's happening with the other conferences. So yeah, I think the thing that we need to realize is that the SEC, the only thing that's changing, the biggest thing that's changing for the SEC or for ESPN and the SEC in 24 is that ESPN gets that one game. Then when Oklahoma and Texas get there, that's the other big change. And so, look, I don't know the permutations of all the different, like how many actual what's the inventory that gets added? Is it 3 games a week? Is it 4 games a week? I don't know. I hadn't really done that math. But yeah, like everybody gets bumped down when Oklahoma and Texas join. You're going to get, Oklahoma and Alabama, or Oklahoma and Florida, or Texas and LSU. And then obviously the fact that like they're going to dedicate a slot to the biggest SEC game of the week and a crew and all that stuff. So yeah, you're concerned. Absolutely. I think the thing that the league has to do is the league has to have a better product overall, and this is part of it. You got to grow the brand. You need Miami and Florida State to get back to who they were. We've been saying that for a generation. I feel like certainly the last half decade, at least. And you need to grow the brands of Carolina and NC State. To me, are sort of the biggest two that haven't been traditional powers in football, but have either the investment or the fan base where it'd be good to see them grow and get to that point. Virginia Tech too, obviously. So you need your brands to be good again. And then Miami and Virginia Tech, when they play, that game will be interesting enough to crack the ABC rotation. So I think the days of seeing, Wake Forest, Clemson on ABC are certainly over because that game just doesn't move the needle like the brand games would.
And you brought up Miami and Florida State coming back. Well, what is it about Miami that brings them back the quickest? John Ruiz or Mario Cristobal?
I'm going to say Dan Radakovich, actually, and maybe the leadership of the university, because no matter what John Ruiz does, which John Ruiz is certainly helping a lot, no matter what Mario Cristobal does, you can't overcome the shortcomings that they've had in investment in the program. And so the investment in the program, the ability to give Mario Cristobal the tools that he needs to build that thing, the ability to have the buzz around it, and sort of the infrastructure too. Those things I think are going to help long-term more sell the vision of Miami than the millions of dollars. And maybe I'm being naive by saying, hey, look, this is more important than the millions, than the millions of dollars and certainly the on-field product. The thing is, like, Miami's got a lot of tailwinds, though. Like, Mario Cristobal, I said this when Manny Diaz got fired. The thing that's going to help Mario Cristobal the most is that he's got a really good team coming back. So no matter what he sells or his name or whatever, they're going to win this year. And that is going to help the most because of what Manny Diaz did to sort of build this thing to that point. But yeah, I think all the constituents are certainly going to help Miami, including John Ruiz.
And Roddy, a final question. Dabo's a little different, and he has said, hey, I'm not going to invest heavily into the transfer portal. And Clemson so far seems to be about a half a step behind on NIL. Do you have any concerns about Clemson and keeping their lofty perch?
Yeah, I'm concerned is that, like, I don't want to insinuate that I think Clemson's going to fall off, because I don't. I think there'll be a 10-win team this year upcoming. I think it'll be a 10-win team next year and probably a 10-win team the year after that, just they've recruited that well. But I think the long-term viability of the program at the top of the sport, yeah, you got to be a little concerned, especially with the staff turnover that they've had, losing Tony Elliott and Brent Venables, especially with the hesitance in the transfer portal. Like, the thing is, Clemson is at a place in the country where they could do what Alabama's doing. Like, you don't have to take a bunch of transfers. You just take the best ones. And Clemson has been hesitant to do that, so it makes them slower to plug holes that they've had. So really, if you miss in recruiting at a position, there's no quick fix for it. That's what Alabama's used it as. Like, hey, we're a little thin at receiver, or hey, we don't think we have a first round receiver. Let's go get one from Ohio State. Like what they did this past year with Jahmyr Gibbs on offense from Georgia Tech coming over. Like, let's get that explosive person. Clemson's hesitance to do that gives them less margin for error in recruiting and development. So I think there is some concern there because what it's going to do for the top programs in the country is give them the ability to plug holes, which raises their floor. So Clemson's ability to do that, we'll see. Dabo's been great and consistent the last 11 years. They've won 10 games. So who am I to doubt what's going on? But it feels like the rest of the country is moving away. And we kind of see it in Duke and basketball too. So it'll be interesting to see those schools that are hesitant to dive in.
Roddy, as always, we're very appreciative, and hopefully when we call you monthly during the season, you'll continue to answer.
No, I certainly will. Appreciate you guys having me.
Roddy Jones, former standout football player at Georgia Tech, covers the ACC for ESPN and the ACC Network. You can follow Roddy on Twitter, Roddy Jones 20, Roddy with 2 Ds, Jones 20. Miller and Moulton, talking the ACC's revamped schedule. It's our poll question, floridasportsnetwork.com. It's called the 3-5-5, 3 permanent opponents every year. Do you like the new schedule? No more divisions after this year.
Last year of the Atlantic and the Coastal. They get put out to pasture with legends and leaders as the 4 worst conference names in the history of the sport.
The Canes, 3 teams that they'll play every year: Florida State, Boston College, and Louisville. The Noles, 3 teams every year: the Canes, Clemson, Syracuse. Noticed how Roddy mentioned Georgia Tech fans missing Florida State. I don't know if Florida State fans are missing Georgia Tech, but I do know that Florida State alumni and booster clubs and president and AD are missing Georgia
I think
Tech.
Florida State fans are, just like you said, it's the second closest team for Georgia Tech. It's one of the closest, if not the closest, for Florida State.
Yeah, I mean, what, Tallahassee to Miami, Tallahassee to Atlanta, close. Miller and Moulton. Seth Everett next hour here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Seems a lot longer ago than
Oh
that.
my God. Thought about that yesterday. Because I think the week kind of fell almost exactly the same as this.
Yeah, it seems like a decade ago.
Oh, shit, yeah. Oh my God. And your dad was alive, right?
Yeah, my dad's been gone 5 years.
But fuck.
It was 5 years in May. So yeah.
Wow. It seems, oh my God, a good 10. It really does. So hard. It's, just life with the pandemic and everything. And then, all the, grinding we've had to do to come make it back. And
Yeah, I really think come October, I think maybe even September, we're going to be out in Michigan.
really?
The only time I talked to Marty, he finally answered the phone last week. And he's like, I only talked to him. He called me back. It's Thursday. And I'm like, yeah, I just was checking in. I haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks, talked about the golf tournament a little bit. So I said, I was looking for, and we didn't make as much as he thought. So he was a little bummed out about that. It was only $2,500 per charity, not $4,000, which I said, that's really good for what we did.
Yeah.
And talk about that he was in the car with somebody and he was going to a meeting. So I'm still working on that. I got shit to do with the morning show. And it just, headaches with the morning show is what he said. I'm like,
Well, I know Bruce is pushing him to do it.
problem is that his other partners, the Tigers guy, and the Tigers guy loves the morning guy.
Yeah.
Shepard.
Well, I think if nothing else, I think he's going to force Anthony to move. Like, I guess to consolidate and not be.
Right.
Well, Georgia Tech shared the, 1990 national championship with Colorado. By the way, somebody's feeding. When I came in this morning, and I was the first one here this morning, and it was like 5:25, 5:27. Right. Somebody here was feeding the cat. There was a can of cat food.
Oh, they're feeding it.
Yeah, but who's they?
Like some of the people in the building.
Well, but I didn't see Big Mama, so I'm trying to think who's here.
Big Mama show's here this morning. Saw the truck.
Yeah, I did too, but then I just walked down the hall.
Oh, they're not there?
No one here, so I don't know if they're on location or what. But there's no one in there producing.
Happy Canada Day. Canada Relief. What is that? That's Friday, huh?
Yeah, July 1st.
But yeah, they are feeding that cat. I mean,
it comes at you.
Right.
Apparently they named it already. Bootsy.
No.
Bootsy?
That's Moulton's cat.
Yeah, that was the cat, one of the strays in my backyard.
They might have named it the same thing.
Okay.
It's possible.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Third and final hour of Miller and Moulton. If you're listening in Port Charlotte and Venice, Tampa, St. Pete, Lake City, and surrounding areas, thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. For those of you in the 239, well, the bonus hour is 1 hour away. Seth Everett is roughly 35 minutes away, even sooner if you're taking us in on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel, because Seth will join us a few minutes earlier via Twitch. And the appeals of Twitch. Follow us, subscribe to the show, and you get a chance to watch it and chime in via the Twitch chat room.
And the Twitch chat room is like you said, interactive, a lot of fun. They've got their own little thing going on, but there are a few of them that I'm jealous of. Because every once in a while, I'm here.
Right.
They take us international, which is great.
Right.
But as Steve just says, we will be until our house gets completed. You know what? You need to add that.
I mean, it is a compliment. Well, it is a compliment, though. I mean, think of the time change. I mean, Steve, are you sure about that? I mean, the show starts, 1 a.m. in Hawaii?
Can't wait for that Twitch notification to go off on your phone and wake you up.
Now everybody's letting us know where they're going on vacation and where they're going to be.
Maybe that's the first summer I haven't taken a vacation in about 15 years. So maybe that's it, David.
I will say there's a buddy of ours who's watching us in Vegas, and he's still getting over the night before, but apparently we put his wife to sleep. All right. He sent us a picture of us on the TV screen in the hotel room in Vegas and then said, well, she's snoring now.
You know what? That might be a good idea. Maybe I'll start playing the podcast back when I need to go to bed.
Well, listen, I've been putting my wife to sleep for years. So, and not necessarily how you think. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. So did you see Baker talked yesterday?
Yeah, he was at a camp, his camp in Oklahoma or some football camp that he was working, and did a little press.
Yeah, the media showed up.
Right.
And he was, kind enough to talk to him, knowing full well the questions he's going to get. And, of course, it was ironic also his youth football camp started on Tuesday, and what also happened yesterday. Deshaun, along with his representatives, his lawyer, Jeffrey Kessler, is another negotiator, lawyer that he hired to lobby his case before a former U.S. federal court judge who is the arbiter in the dispute between Deshaun and the NFL. So Baker's asked, hey, Deshaun can't play for the Browns this year. I mean, would you entertain the idea of coming back and playing for Cleveland?
And he started out by saying that basically that ship has sailed, that both sides have moved on and it's time to go. But then when pressed in a second question, said, well, they'd have to reach out to me.
Right.
I'm not reaching out to them.
Right. The burden's on them. Now, I feel Baker has handled this wrong.
He has handled it wrong. I don't think there's much doubt there.
That Baker, and yes, it would be hard, okay? But, we've had it happen to us together and individually. It's hard when your bosses tell you that you're not wanted anymore. And when they let you know that we're going to replace you. It's hard. It is. And it's hard to take.
This is the story of my life.
But, I worked early on in my career. I worked a job in Binghamton, New York, and I knew for over 6 months they were trying to replace me. And they didn't hide it either. I mean, I used to see the national ad and look and go, well, that's this job. They did everything but put the station name and address. They sent it to a box somewhere. And the reason they were able to do it is because the company that owned that station owned other stations. So they were able to, send the stuff elsewhere and eventually get it. They didn't want it absolutely out in the open, sports director, WBNG TV, Binghamton, New York. Because then obviously everybody would go, wow, they're advertising your job. But they told me, we're looking to replace you. And I knew it. And I even drove and met with the owner of the company and 3 hours away one morning and met with him and said, listen, please reconsider, let's wipe the slate clean. I know we've had a tough negotiation, but I don't want to leave. And he was like, well, I'll consider it. And basically the people I worked for, the news director and the GM, said, no, we want to get rid of this guy. Okay.
Personality won him over again, huh, David?
Yeah, well, Mark, I had the audacity after winning 2 years in a row, most popular personality in the region. And remember, we had the highest ratings in the country for a local news station. I had the audacity to ask for a $4,000 raise.
Well,
and so they said, no, we can replace you.
It's the way it works.
Yep. And that's what I found out.
That's how it goes right there.
I was in my mid to late 20s. I found out right away. Well, they got another one. They feel they got another one look just like you.
You're not that big fella.
Right. I mean, you may be more popular than the guy we replace you with, but we're getting 60 and 70 ratings. We're good. We're good. You're not affecting the ad rate all that much. So, yeah, that was quite an education. But, we experienced it in the market in which we broadcast from. It's hard. It's tough. But I don't think Baker, forget with Cleveland, I don't think he's helped himself with the rest of the league. All right, because what's the thing that people are holding against Baker? They think he's a little immature. He's not necessarily the leader, a franchise quarterback. Okay, and I don't know how you have viewed him in the first couple months after they signed Deshaun, but I thought he kind of threw a little tantrum and pouted and took his ball and went home.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. And I wonder how would have handled it as well when they basically trade for your replacement and kick you to the curb after you did go out and play as hard as you could for him while you were injured. While you had a great running game and you brought him back with an arm that didn't work and said, throw the ball over and over again. I mean, they didn't handle this the right way with him either.
Well, no. And, I think they overreacted in going after Deshaun as aggressively as they did with picks and money and the whole deal, and not realizing that, oh, come on now, he played through an injury. I mean,
but here's where Baker has also screwed up, is that Baker more than likely doesn't have a starting job next year. If he does, it's in a place like Carolina, which is a grease fire.
Right.
They're a football team.
Right.
With Baker, they're going to finish in last place. Without Baker, they're going to finish in last place. Cleveland's a really good football team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can win in Cleveland.
With Baker Mayfield, that's a playoff team. With Deshaun Watson, that's a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
With Jacoby Brissett, it's probably a 7-10 football team at best. And they're still stacked. But yesterday, he could have, even with all of the immaturity, David, he knew the press was showing up yesterday. Word got to him that they were going to be there. He could have just said, I'm open to anything. All I know is that I want to play football this year. He could have gave the most generic Newt Rockney answer. Hey, I'm a quarterback. What I want to do is play football. I want to win football games, and wherever that is, that's all I want. Whether that's Cleveland or anywhere else, all I want to do is have an opportunity to win. Something simple and stupid like that, and it starts changing the narrative.
Like, I've never heard Baker say anything about my guys. You know what I mean? Like, he's always been, nope, they screwed me. I'm done with them. They're done with me. And listen, let's face it. They want to be done with him. I mean, you don't make the move you make with Deshaun Watson or what have you. If you haven't made the decision, we're done with this guy. But I also think it's been a little bit of a blow to Baker and his representatives. They had to have thought by now that there's another team in the league that would have been like, oh, we can get Baker Mayfield. That doesn't happen. No.
And that security claim is running rampant through the league.
Yeah, I think it's hurt him. All right. Now, I don't think Cleveland's helped either. I mean, the fact that the Browns thought they had all this leverage with Baker Mayfield and, you're going to have to give us a high draft pick and pick up his $19 million salary. And the handful of teams who maybe were interested in Baker were like, guys, you don't have any leverage. I mean, where do you see you have leverage? You don't have any leverage in this deal. You went out and signed Deshaun Watson. Where's your leverage?
Yeah, you got to pay me either way, whether I play or not.
And not only that, not a lot of us have that kind of salary cap room right now. But now, like you said, I mean, come on, he's seen this play out. I mean, we all think there's a really good chance Deshaun's not going to play this year. I think right now, my $20, okay, are you betting on Deshaun playing this year or not?
Not.
So if you're Baker, hey, there's nobody offering you a starting job right now. And believe it or not, the organization that might, there's no doubt. They stuck it to you and they don't want you. They don't. But it might be the only place you can start this year.
And putting your head down and working your ass off and giving yourself the opportunity to start somewhere will benefit you tenfold down the road.
Yes. And the franchises that you could win over that clearly are not in your camp right now. I mean, come on. The fact that Seattle has not acquired Baker Mayfield's absurd. I mean, it really is. You look at their quarterback situation and they haven't gone out and gotten Baker Mayfield. I mean, come on. That's ridiculous. Carolina, at least they could argue, well, I don't know, Sam Darnold, just, we think he's comparable, which he has not shown he is. Baker's been a better NFL quarterback. But, I mean, Sam Darnold's a lot better than what they got in Seattle. So I'm a little surprised even now that Baker isn't like, listen, I love the people of Cleveland. I love my time there. It's probably over. But, if circumstances warrant, I mean, I am under contract. If the job opens back up again, I'd love to have it. And even if it's just one more year, hey, it's our swan song. Let's see if we can win a Super Bowl together.
Miller and Moulton, that's what we would do, but Baker obviously going in a different direction. We will go in a different direction in about 20 minutes with one Seth Everett right here on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com.
flgolfcarts.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
By the way, Fancy's has meatloaf and eggs on their breakfast menu. And if you didn't know you wanted meatloaf and eggs, you do.
Stop.
I just saw Metcalf and it made me think of meatloaf.
Like DK Metcalf.
Yeah. And for you foodies in Fort Myers, Liberty is outstanding.
Liberty?
Yes.
Where's that by?
It's on 41 by Bell Tower.
Is brunch?
No, it's dinners. It's all like tapas, small plates.
Nice. I love tapas.
Fancy's is fantastic, Hops. It really is. And Liberty Drutherian is so good.
The whole family gave it a yes.
Where's Fancy's again?
Fancy's is in the highly desirable Daniels corridor.
How far down?
Almost to the highway.
The two meatballs?
Right next to it.
Gotcha. I like the two meatballs place.
It is good. And, David, I think, Fancy's is kind of your type of place. Big portions, Southern food, lots of carbs.
All in. All in. Wife will be out of town next week. I'll go there a couple times. I can go to the one place one night and go to the other the next.
It is tough about Port Charlotte, isn't it? There's not a lot of dining options. A lot of places that think they're fancy, but not many that actually are. Fort Myers has done a terrific job. I don't know the last time I had a veal sandwich. Last time I had veal was 2 weeks ago.
I don't know if I've had a veal sandwich.
Metro Diner, where is there? Metro Diner shut down in Bonita. The only one that was here went out of business. And you're really going to say Metro Diner's chicken and waffles is better than Fancy's? Ooh, those are strong words. That syrup at Fancy's, I could put on a shoe and eat it. Oh, there is one in the Cape? Okay. Seth came on and then left. He popped in the on-deck circle and then he left the on-deck circle. No, I mean, the camera's not there. I don't know what he did.
You said to join us now or next segment?
Next segment, but he's usually on, locked in way before that.
Totally agree with you, Trenton. Hate what they did to Selman's.
What is that place now?
Glory Days. Hate it. Don't like the menu at all.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Poll question: do you like the new revamped ACC football schedule? They're going 3-5-5, 3 permanent teams. And then, well, amongst the other 10 remaining, play 5 one year, 5 the next. Over the course of 4 years, you'll do a home and away and play everybody at home. But you got 3 permanent opponents. Do you like it? Yay or nay? That's our poll question. floridasportsnetwork.com.
Love the concept. Like the idea that everybody gets to see everybody in a short time window.
Which is what we've talked about with the proposed SEC 4-14 pods when Oklahoma and Texas join. In theory, if they did that, you'd play the 3 teams, obviously, in your pod. And then amongst the other 12, you do over the course of 4 years, you would play everybody at home once. And it works. Now, I believe, though, since they're going to 16 schools, it would make a 9-game conference schedule.
Right.
And so,
I don't know why the SEC would do that.
well, I think because their broadcast partner said, listen, we're giving you this much money. We need more inventory. I don't know what to tell you. The other thing that it could coincide. 8 has clearly worked now. But by 2026, the expectation is we're going to have an expanded playoff. In theory, you can play a few more harder games. You don't have to be as perfect. You have a little more margin for error to get in the playoff. Hence, you could play, whether it's a tougher non-conference schedule or more conference games, and still get your teams in.
And I'm with you, but you can still play in 8 games. The problem has been is they, for the most part, play all their non-conference games first and then get into conference schedule. And you have those dead weeks early. I think you just move. And David, for the record, I want 9 games for every conference. I would.
You would like 10.
Yeah.
Right. We want more good games.
Right. But with 8, if you just start moving conference games earlier, like this Nebraska Northwestern game in Dublin, at least week 0, we get a conference game. It's not the best conference game, but it's better than most of the crap you get in week 0. If you were to just not be so non-conference heavy early and give, if the SEC was saying, demanding, hey, we only want to go to 8, well, then you've got to start playing conference games a lot earlier. So there is more inventory, or at least the inventory is more spread out.
Right. You would have to sit down and get creative with the schedule. And with Oklahoma and Texas joining the conference, you could.
Bingo.
You could. It's then just a matter of, are we going to do the 4-14 pods, at which point to play everybody home and away in a 4-year span outside of your own division, so to speak. You'd have to have a 9-game conference schedule. Or do we just go 8 teams in the East, 8 teams in the West, at which point you got 7 teams in your division? You could just have the 1 crossover game. You could stay at 8 if you want to keep it East and West.
And if you go to 9, you're still back to the situation where it's going to take a long time to get through everybody on that side. I think the pods have the most momentum because of the sim situation that Roddy just talked about, is that the pods would allow every kid to see every team.
Well, right.
In the window that they're playing college football.
Because even if you went in the SEC, especially, if you went when Oklahoma and Texas joined, you got 16 teams. We go 8 in the East, 8 in the West. Even if they went with a 9-game conference schedule, that's still only 2 on the other side. Well, that's 2 out of 8.
Right.
So that means and if you're rotating, that doesn't even mean if you make one of those 2 in the other division a permanent one. Okay. If you made it even a rotating.
Correct, which is what I think they would do.
You're still, you're only seeing each school once every 4 years, and you're only getting them at home on average of once every 8. No, that's not the desired outcome here. I mean,
It's not good for recruiting for everybody, for every school, because the SEC now, what are the reasons besides financial, which is the biggest one, but Oklahoma and Texas do what? They further expand the recruiting for SEC schools to get into the state of Texas. Well, if you're Georgia, you don't want to play Texas once every 8 years. If you're Florida, you don't want to go to Texas once every 8 years.
And I know there's A&M, but they're also on that side. So, we think the SEC is going to 9 for a variety of reasons. It's just a matter of, are they going to go east-west and go 9, or are they going to go the 4-14 pods, which I have a feeling is what they're going to go. People are going to scream and yell that Alabama's getting off easy, though, because we think geographically the natural pod is, because they're going to want to keep Alabama and Tennessee playing each other. I think. And so, because Tennessee, we think, is going to lose Florida and Georgia. So that they got to give them Alabama. They have to give them Alabama. So we think it's going to be Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, Vandy. And people are going to scream, oh, could you make it any easier for Alabama? Versus, what the other 3 pods will look like.
If we take this into World Cup groups of death, that certainly is not a group of death. Because look at Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and Kentucky.
Right.
If you're Georgia, you're looking at that going, I'm comfortable with that right now.
Yeah, I can do that. I can, especially since Spurrier's not at South Carolina.
But, Florida's clearly the 2. Florida's a better 2 than Tennessee or Auburn is a 2. As of right now, at this moment in time. Now, whatever we do out west with the, Texas, Oklahoma.
All right, A&M. Mm-hmm.
Arkansas.
Yep. Now it's possible they could, if they do this, put the Alabama and Mississippi schools together. But then I think, and then you're going to do what? Put the Tennessee schools with who and where?
Then you've got Texas, A&M, Oklahoma, and LSU. Yeah, I don't see that happening. That's your group of death.
And so that's why we believe that it'll be the Tennessee schools and the Alabama schools. I have to admit, personally, while I know the 4-14 pods works better, and it just is. It's simpler, it's better, it's clean. Everybody gets to host everybody at least once every 4 years. You play them. The worst case scenario, you play a school every other year. I know it's best. There was a part of me, though, that really wanted it to be East-West and the Alabama schools joining the East. I really wanted that because geographically they would have had to do it. They would have had to do it. Think about what we would have had in the East. Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Right. Now, don't get me, the West's not a piece of cake.
LSU, Texas, Oklahoma, A&M with what they've got going on.
Right. I mean, it's not a piece of cake, but if you look at nationally, in the last 15 years, 3 of the 4 juggernauts in the conference have been Alabama, Georgia, Florida. And there they are. Auburn's had their moments. I'd put LSU ahead of Auburn in terms of what they've done in the last 15 years. But I was just, there was the fan in me was like, oh man, would that be something?
And I look at this between the 2 concepts, the 3-5-5 and the 4 pods, and wonder what the hell the Big Ten wants to do, because I don't think they want 8 conference games. I think the divisions are going away in the Big Ten. I think that's inevitable. But what's the scheduling formula out there that continues to give the Big Ten 9 games and provide the ability for everybody to see everybody on a continuous basis?
Well, doesn't it have to be what the ACC unveiled yesterday? Because they've got the same number of teams. They got 14 teams.
Right. That's 8 conference games.
Correct.
The Big Ten wants 9.
I know. So what do? How do you do it? How do you do it and have everybody play everybody?
That's what I'm talking about. Or does the Big Ten just have to look at adding 2 teams in the next 4 years and going to whatever the SEC model is? And ending the Big 12 once and for all.
Oh, boy. Miller and Moulton. Seth Everett. Goodness knows what we'll talk to him about. But that's why we have him on every week, just for the variety. Next, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning, Seth.
Good morning.
You were in Colorado 2 years, 25 years ago. You're a Devils fan.
I am a Devils fan, but I found the hat.
Oh, so that's just, hey, I found it?
Yeah, I supported my friends. I'm happy for them.
I support my friend, too.
Joe Sakic, that's my guy.
Joe
He's our
Sakic,
captain.
my guy.
He's your guy, huh?
Working on getting him on Sports with Friends this summer.
Yeah, we're working on getting the head coach on our show this summer.
What's his face?
Jared Bednar.
Bednar, yeah.
Probably got a better shot.
Why?
I've known him for 20 years.
Oh, good. So then you're happy too. You want the hat?
Let's see. I literally, I've known the guy a long, long time. I was texting him the next morning. He was kind enough to text back pretty quickly with a thank you.
That's great. It's very cool. The better team won.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they were better.
That third period was just, they caved in on them. Lightning couldn't get anything going.
No, they couldn't. I thought they should have shot more, though. They were sometimes had the puck near the blue line and were getting a little fancy with it. There were times where I just want you to throw something on net, especially since I didn't think that guy was a great goalie.
No, he's not. It's better than the Devils goalie.
Well, I think one of the three members of this show could play goal better than what the Devils have had lately. So how you doing?
I'm good. It's been a very hectic couple of days. My wife got a kidney stone.
Oh,
Pretty painful.
yes. They're not
Yeah.
fun.
So I've heard.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
Did it pass?
Apparently. So now she's just recovering from like all the pain medicine that they gave her.
Are
So
the
she's got
children
like
at
that
camp?
hungover feeling.
Are the children at camp?
Children are gone. They're Saturday. We said goodbye.
So much
I
enthusiasm in
was
that
going to
voice.
say there's excitement underneath those tones.
I've gotten 2 letters already.
Seth, we have a question here that's up your alley. Seth, why do the writers of the Flash TV show make him so stupid? He is the dumbest genius I've ever seen.
Yeah, so there's a lot of issues with the Flash. The problem is that they do 20 episodes and they can't take a storyline and stretch it so far. So if they made Flash as smart as he used to be in the beginning of the series, they would realize that their storylines would be over after 2 episodes and they'd be done. And it's the great challenge. And I've had cast members and the showrunner on my podcast, and they all address it. It's the biggest thing. And shows today are shorter, bigger budgets, shorter episode runs. Obi-Wan Kenobi is an example. Ms. Marvel's an example. And The Flash is
Miss
just
Marvel. I saw a trailer. This is not my genre. I'm not into it. Miss Marvel in the 30-second promo I saw made me smile and made me go, that show looks funny to me.
It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
And I saw a preview when you go on Netflix and I went clicking, just kind of surfing to watch something, and The Boys came on. I watched that trailer. That all right, I think I could watch
dirty.
this show.
That's a dirty show. That's an NC-17 caliber show.
Yeah, the
Ms. Marvel, the kids can watch.
Good though.
Oh.
Yeah, the
That's
boys, the kids can never see.
No. I knew that.
Not even when they're adults.
Never.
I'm going to see Elvis, by the way, Canada Relief, next week.
Mazel.
I've got to go see. I listened to Dan Patrick yesterday. I don't know who he had some movie person on. Basically, they're crediting Tom Cruise with getting people back to the theater.
No doubt.
That not just this movie, but all the other movies people will go see by having a good time at the theater and a feel good type movie. And now, hey, maybe I'll go see Elvis. Maybe I'll go see this because.
Although
and they get into the timing of it, that he held this off for the perfect storm, that we're back to where we're a little more ready.
Don't think Jurassic Park has done nearly as well as they.
I'm sorry, it was Roger. It was Ropert, the kid that does it now. It was Roger Ropert. Is that his name? Movie critic.
Wait, Robert's son is a movie critic.
Yeah, and he basically has,
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. It's that time of our week. It's Seth Everett time. 3 great podcasts that he is not just a part of. They're his idea. He produces them. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, and Tech Stream. 3 very different topics. He's a very versatile guy. Friend of the show, very loyal to the show. We are very friendly and loyal to him. You can follow Seth on Twitter at Seth_Everett. Seth, I must admit, have to let people behind the curtain. We were talking there for about 5 minutes in the Twitch chat room before we came back on the radio. And there's an excitement in your voice, which is unmistakable. Will you tell our audience why that is?
My kids are at camp.
Yep.
Did you ever talk to your mom, and I know your dad pastors, you ever talk to your mom about you going to camp? Were they as excited as you are about shipping you off as you are about shipping your kids off?
I only went 1 year. I hated sleepaway camp. I thought sleepaway camp was abominable. I thought it was stupid. And I had a miserable experience. I never wanted to do it. The only reason why my kids go to this camp is because my wife went there. And, she went there for like 6-7 years. So, it's kind of a legacy thing. Her name is hanging in one of the bunks or, one of the halls or something. And where they go is beautiful. Where I went was a dump.
Do your kids like it as much as your wife did?
I think so. I'm getting the vibe. My older one, I think the kids are having some early teenage drama. And my daughter has done a really, really good job of steering clear of that crap. And she wrote me a letter. It just kind of sounds like she would like to take a walk. And there's no law that says she has to go back. So, when I talk to her, I'll have that conversation with her. I do really miss talking to them. I talk to them so stinking much. I love it. And
you're a talker.
Well, it's not even that. It's that I love that they're comfortable being open with me, and as they get into teenage years, that's something that a father struggles with, and I'm very, very happy, and that's been an adjustment, not being able to tell her stuff, that kind of thing.
The whole watching Devils hockey together
Well,
on the couch.
We bonded. It was funny. I also told you in the break, my wife was in the hospital and she's okay. But when they were administering the pain medicine to try to get her to to chill out and smile, I said, "Hey, when you get out of here, we can go see Top Gun."
And did that lighten up? Because she wants to go. She's the one that told me you were going to Top Gun.
Go. I believe at the end of this week we will see this Fakakta plane movie.
Hey, listen, you pass a kidney stone, you deserve to go see the movie of your choice, all right?
She can do whatever she wants.
Exactly.
She wants to watch The Proposal again. It's fine.
Hey, since you have a Syracuse shirt on and you are a proud alum, a little obnoxious at times, but that's okay. The ACC football, they redid the schedule yesterday. Syracuse's 3 are BC, Pitt, and Florida State. You'll play them every year. What?
Awesome.
So you're all in?
I don't know. I don't care. We've been doing, I talk to Syracuse people all the time. College football, this transfer portal, to me, it just takes the sting out of this whole thing. And I know you guys are big into college athletics where you guys are. And I'll watch the games and I'll root for the team. But there's no rhyme or reason why anybody's good one year or bad the next year, and nobody stays. It's just kind of weird. The whole NIL did not ruin college sports, but transfer portal, man, it's taken the competition away from me.
Is it, and I'm not trying to be smart, is it a little bit that Syracuse isn't good right now?
That's part of it. Yeah, sure.
Because, I know it's that way with me with other sports. Like, I'm not the NBA fan I once was because the team I rooted for my whole life has stunk for such a long time.
Oh, that's fair. It's boring. It's boring. I watch out of loyalty. I mean, I know when they'll play, and I'll make sure I have the right app to see their games and whatnot. I'll watch the basketball too. It's just it doesn't have the same value that it used to, and I see that going out throughout their city. If you read the Syracuse papers, which I do pretty regularly, it just seems like there's a malaise about the whole thing. And I had a very ho-hum. I saw the story yesterday about the ACC schedule. Okay, sounds fine. Well, I know where BC and Pitt, I've been to those games. That's fun.
Right. That goes back to your Big East days.
Yep.
Who else could they have given you? I don't know. Outside.
No, I understand why they would. Right.
They gave you Florida State as the 3rd. Would you have preferred, I don't know, Vatech?
I don't want Clemson, so we're good.
All right. Seth Everett, Sports with
They had
Friends.
that happy birthday win like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes,
and
they did.
Think, bring them on. No, thanks. They're pretty good.
That's right. On a Thursday night. No question.
Friday night. Yeah.
Oh, was it Friday?
Yeah.
Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, and Tech Stream.
I got a good. Sorry.
Unbelievable. Just fine. Say whatever you're going to say.
You go.
You can't even
promote. It's your show. You go with your Star Trek shirt.
Yes, it's the Atlantic Sun Conference. They redid their logo, and their A does look as if, all right, I should have
Star
been
Trek logo.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Live long and prosper, buddy.
Yeah. I salute him a different way when I see him in the morning, Seth, with that shirt.
Can you just in that shirt just give me I gave her all she can, Captain.
God damn it, Jim. I'm doing the best I can.
Doing the best I can.
All right, say what you were going to say.
No, I had an interesting subject come up that I thought you guys would want to weigh in on.
Okay.
On Techstream, we are covering something that Amazon is proposing, that using voice technology, if you give Alexa 60 seconds of any voice,
you can have a dead relative talk to you.
You can have a dead relative, you can have an actor, you can have anybody you want talk to you. Now, it is a nefarious thing considering you could have a little kid have the parent tell you to do things that you shouldn't do and buy things you shouldn't do. It's a very hackable thing. But the idea of having, your dead relative, if you have an old voicemail or an old answering machine tape or a home movie, I could look at my wedding video and find all these people. If I could have Daryl Hamilton tell me to turn my lights off, that would be pretty scary and, and pretty wild.
That's
what do you guys think of that?
Well, we talked about it earlier in the week, and we figured, do you find it creepy or comforting? That's what we narrowed it down to.
Yeah.
I understand it could be a little creepy, but to me, it would be more comforting.
Well, and what I found out, and Seth, because this is where my technological naivety came into play. I didn't realize I could change the name of Alexa. So the fact that I could, have say, my day, hey Fred, what time is it?
Yeah.
That made me happy in itself. But I do think it would be creepy to hear a voice of a dead relative talking to me out of a machine. That would be creepy to me.
In the podcast, they demoed this, and Shelley Palmer, the guy who co-hosts the podcast with me, started to read a passage written by the late Carl Sagan, and halfway through the reading, Carl Sagan takes over. He never said it. It's so as far as creepy, it's creepy, and putting it together was creepy, and it's weird. I wonder, to have James Earl Jones be, your Amazon device, that would be kind of neat. Darth Vader telling you stuff to do, that would be kind of cool. But would you want a dead relative, or would you want any relative, or an ex-wife, or it's a strange thing.
Here's why I think it would be more comforting than creepy, because you would sign on for it. You wouldn't agree to it unless you thought this would be cool. Now, the example you just gave, that could creep you out, in which all of a sudden you're in the middle of a reading and it changes the voice on its own to a different voice. That could startle you. But if you think about it, if you're changing the voice of Alexa to your late mother or father, well, then you're doing it for a reason. So I think it would be comforting. I mean, it's not like all of a sudden you're going to buy Alexa and it's going to show up and it's going to be a different voice. I mean, you have to program it.
Right. Yeah, you need to give it like 60 seconds of audio from something. I would want, my father was Cuban, and so my grandparents, who have been dead for years, had very Cuban accents. I would love to have my grandmother tell me to come downstairs. I'm late. Setela, come downstairs.
Felipe, what's that sound like?
Seth, come downstairs now.
Yeah. Come
Seth,
downstairs. Why are you wearing those pants? Why are you with the pantalones? What are you doing?
Speak. What do you want?
See, you would find that comforting.
Yeah, no, I think it would be funny once.
That's what it would be to me, and this is where the snarky in me comes. I would want to set it up just to trick my wife and daughter.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, for that reason alone, that's fun for me, because I can see the wife going, Alexa, set a timer for 60 seconds, and then a voice popping out and her just jumping.
Yep.
So that to me would be fun, but it's not worth the grief I'd get for doing it.
It's a wild thing, and I thought of you guys, and I said, I think it's an interesting conundrum.
I'd be fine with it. All right. In fact, I'd just have to figure out which voice. All right. Probably do my grandmother. But gentleman in our Twitch chat room said, how could I change Alexa to my dead ex-wife's voice? Begs the question, why would you want to? But anyway, hey, it's your Alexa.
Do with it.
Pretty good.
Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network with Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice text stream. Throw a couple of very quick things out at you, because then, of course, we got to, let you promote what it is you do and go. Listen, if I'm the commissioner of baseball and I want to get rid of these brawls, and I say, listen, I'm going to go David Stern. Here's the deal. You leave the dugout, a lengthy suspension. You leave the bullpen, a lengthy suspension. I don't want any more brawls. Would you be okay with that? Or do you think like Mark does that, you know what, the brawls get us on TV, get people talking about it. It's not the worst thing in the world.
I thought the suspension was warranted. I thought it was a pretty decent suspension. What, 8 guys got suspended, and some people got suspended for 10, 15 games, and I thought it was fine. You know, I don't think there's a stance one way or the other. I think the problem, you know, from what I've been able to ascertain, is that these pitchers can't grip the baseballs, and they're throwing at people, and it, you know, when you don't have pinpoint control, you can make mistakes, and people are going to get hurt. It seems like a mess. I don't know. I was very ambivalent toward the Mariners and the Angels fight. I saw it. You know, it seemed pretty intense. It was better than just a bunch of guys standing around talking at each other. But I don't know.
But deep down in the back rooms of MLB, are they actually okay with this, Seth, or are they against the whole idea of a base brawl? Because I think deep down that they can sit there and say, "Oh, I hate this," and they're looking, going, "This is great."
No, they don't. They don't mind. They like the publicity. I can tell you that when the late Bob Watson was in charge of suspensions and Darrell Hamilton was his lieutenant, I used to go into the MLB back room and I used to do some of the suspensions. We would look at film and we would determine, how many games this guy should get and how many games that guy should get. And that was a great fun. I did that for like 3 seasons when I worked for the league. And there were a lot of times where Darrell would ask my opinion and we would take the opinion that I had. And, we had just guys, they were going to suspend somebody once for 3 games and I thought it was too little. So they wound up suspending them for 5. And it was great. And I had an absolute blast. So I would imagine there's some young punk helping out now. I know they fired Bob Watson, like 10 years ago, and they replaced him with Joe Torre. And to me, it was just it was kind of a lame hire.
All right. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice text stream, go.
Sports with Friends. I'll get a reaction from this. Darren Ravel is on the podcast.
Oh, good get.
That is
okay.
Good get.
One of the first ever journalists to join Twitter and find out what he does, how he did it, and how he carved out a niche and has over 2 million Twitter followers. So Sports with Friends. We had a play date a bunch of years ago, and he gave me some serious social media advice, and it helped me a great deal. We talk about that as well. Hall of Justice, an icon in animation, John Semper, is going to be joining us. He is the creator of the 90s Spider-Man, the animated series. We don't talk about Spider-Man per se. It's a 2-part episode. Spider-Man is next week. What we talk about is this brand new Green Lantern film, an animated film where Green Lantern is John Stewart. And we talk a lot about creators' rights and reparations for characters that are created and such like that. It's a really, really interesting episode of
Seth. Unfortunately, we were given a bad time cue. We're out of time. We got to go.
Shalom, everyone.
Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Golfers,
Are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Am I allowed to get them out or no?
It's a little hot, but
A lot of fucking mistakes lately.
I know. So looks like Westhoff will probably be next Thursday. He wants me to call him next week to make sure. But he called me yesterday, and he's doing a book opening party that he wants me to come to. I'm like, whatever you need, bud. He's like, what do you think? And I'm like, I'd love to. And then he said he's going to try to invite some other folks, like the OJ McDuffies. And I says, well, what if he said, well, what would you think? I says, well, what if you did that? I said, get a microphone, get 2 microphones at Lexington. You guys sit at a table. I'll walk the crowd and let people ask. Oh, and then he just,
Sure.
But I'm excited to go to this because some gal read his book. She's doing all his social media stuff for him for free. She's getting 10 cents a book, which she did it for. I want to meet this woman because Mike Westhoff's social media is next fucking level.
Really?
Oh, no. She's great. She knows what she's done her whole life. I don't know. I'm going there because Mike invited me.
Right.
Where
is this?
At Lexington Country Club in July. He just he's like, would you come to? I'm having a book grant. I'm like, Mike, I'd be honored to come.
Sure.
He's like, would you be able to make it? I'm like, Mike, I don't have a day off this summer. I'm not going anywhere. So whenever it is, I'm good.
Right.
10 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this hump day, the final Wednesday of June. Thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. I don't want to belabor the point because, this topic's been out there for a while, although it's kind of tough not to talk about it yesterday, today, tomorrow, since the Deshaun Watson hearing with the former U.S. District Judge Sue Robinson is taking place. Yesterday, the NFL made their case that, hey, at least a year, but we'd like it to be,
Indefinite.
Yeah. Because this thing might not get resolved till 2023, and we don't want to look foolish and hand out however many games it is now and then find out more stuff if these civil cases go to trial, which are scheduled to in early 2023, and we're unable to punish them because we've already adjudicated this matter, so to speak. So the NFL is looking for indefinite. But as I understand the rules per the collective bargaining agreement, that the NFL, if they don't like the judgment from Sue Robinson, that they can appeal.
Right. And they appeal to themselves.
Correct.
I mean, Raj is still,
and Raj or somebody that he
appoints
ultimately renders the verdict, and that verdict's final.
Correct. This is largely a dog and pony show in a lot of different ways. Now, the union is very hopeful that by changing the way that they have done business with disciplinary reasons, that whatever this judge says that they will go with, but they don't have to.
So Deshaun Watson's not going to play this year. Right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, how if Sue Robinson there says, no, 8 games, and the NFL goes, we're not happy with that, we're going to appeal. They're appealing to themselves.
Yes, they are, David.
So how is he not going to be suspended indefinitely or for at least the year?
This is what has always bothered the Players Association, that Raj is judge, jury, and executioner.
Which they have agreed to now twice. And Pat has always said that, hey, this is something that the NFL's like, yeah, we're not relenting on this.
Yeah, it's not really that the NFLPA has agreed to it. It's that this is essentially a non-starter to change. That they can bitch and moan all they want at these proceedings and these negotiations when they're doing new contracts, but this one's basically off the table.
And you got to remember, they're very early into a 10-year deal. So when this goes down the way it's going to go down and the NFLPA is going to lose their mind, they're locked in. I mean, they're like, year 2 of a 10-year deal? Something like that. It's no more than year 3, but I think it's year 2.
And it doesn't matter what year it is, because it doesn't seem as if this is ever going to change.
Well, but in theory,
without work stoppage.
Right. You and I have, we've had to negotiate with one another. And if by chance, I've been unhappy with something that you wanted, but I've always agreed to it. If I get to the end of my rope and I finally decide, listen, I'm not agreeing this time, I don't know what to tell you. And who knows, maybe this will be the beginning of that for the NFLPA, where come 2032, they finally go, listen, we can't have what we had happen in the Deshaun Watson thing anymore. I'm sorry. We can't live with that. Our members will not tolerate that. We're willing to miss games over this.
such a small number of players that get called into this office. Do you really think that the 95+% that never get called in are really going to make this be the biggest thing as opposed to money? It's always money. Because of money.
I understand, but listen, we don't think they've ever gotten enough money, to be honest. I mean, they keep losing ground in these negotiations, which makes no sense. The league's never been more popular. It's never been flush with more cash. And the NFLPA keeps getting less and less of a percentage. Man, it's absurd.
And when they go ask for more percentage or Raj or whoever takes his place at that time to not be in charge, they'll relent on Raj. That's what they've always ended up doing.
But I mean, this really is a dog and pony show.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, for as much as Goodell and Daniel Snyder being asked to go before that congressional committee has been criticized as a dog and pony show, I mean, what am I missing here?
The only way it's not a dog and pony show is if, in fact, this judge who sees this part of the case offers her recommendation and they go with it.
But do you think Goodell in the NFL is going to go with any recommendation short of he misses the whole year? I don't even know if that's enough because of the possibility of the other civil suits going to trial in 2023.
Look, I've been surprised throughout this that Raj hasn't already put him on the commissioner's exempt list. That seemed to be the easiest recourse. Put him on the commissioner's exempt list, sort through all of this. You can take out he's on that list.
Do you get paid while you're on that list? Now, I will say, technically this year, the salary is only $1 million. He got a $45 million signing bonus,
which nobody can do anything about.
Nothing.
That's his money.
Yes. That's already in the account.
And that is why, and Pat has brought this up numerous times on the show, it's why there's not one team in the league that is backing the Cleveland Browns right now.
No.
They are bent out of shape over that contract.
Well, think about it.
All guaranteed money, plus the fact that they gave him $45 up front with all guaranteed money. There is not one other GM and or owner in this league that is happy with the contract that the Cleveland Browns gave Deshaun Watson. In fact, they're ticked off.
Now, Rodgers, Mahomes, and Allen have all signed long-term deals here in the last year. But think about the quarterbacks, and so has Dak Prescott. But think about the quarterbacks who are going to negotiate long-term big money deals in the next 12 to 24 months. Burrow, Herbert, Lamar. I mean, that's just a start. That's, maybe somebody emerges here in the next year or two and becomes, oh my goodness, we got to lock them down. I mean, hey,
Tua.
Could be Tua.
Could be.
For all we know. But, and oh, by the way, Russell Wilson is also going to have his hand out here in a year because I think he's only got 2 years left on his deal that he signed with the Seahawks. And so, after this year, he's going to look at brand new Broncos ownership, richest owners in the league, and say to the Walmart heir, the first digit needs to be a 5.
And look don't worry about the first digit. Okay. And you're right in what you're saying. But the more important thing for the Denver owners is to not give Russell Wilson a Deshaun Watson type contract. That would bother the other owners far more than the first number being a 5.
But if Wilson and Burrow and Herbert and Tua or whoever else in a position, Lamar, I mean, we said this about Lamar. Everybody's like, oh, I can't believe Lamar's not, knee deep in negotiations with the Ravens. Well, don't you think Lamar's sitting there going, oh, $1 more than Deshaun Watson be a good place to start? And I'm better than he is. He hasn't been league MVP. It's not like he's done more in the playoffs than I have. It's about the same. I haven't brought discredit to the organization in any way. I mean, seriously, what in the world can Mike Brown do with Joe Burrow? I mean, can that even be a negotiation, for goodness sakes? If Joe Burrow were to literally look at Mike Brown and say, I want 6 years, $300 million fully guaranteed. Now, Mike will say no, but Joe and his people could just shake his hand and go, call us when you're ready. I mean, seriously, if he wants to be that hard line, just like the NFL here wants to be this hard line. I mean, you and I have never had that kind of leverage, but if we ever did, we'd be impossible to deal with.
We're pretty impossible to deal with now, and we have zero leverage. I know it'd be like with any leverage whatsoever. We've negotiated as if we've had leverage our whole lives and have never had any.
Right.
One time we had it. The meeting lasted 4 minutes, David.
Right. We got fired.
Yeah. We had leverage and fired us 4 minutes into the meeting. 4
Didn't even fire us to our face.
No. We're fired, and then quit.
Right. We were like, what? We thought we were showing up for work.
The memo.
So this is, I didn't realize yesterday that this was this big of a dog and pony show. I did not realize that Goodell could appeal to himself.
Yeah.
And then if you're Deshaun Watson,
why are you even there right now? This almost means nothing.
I mean, if you lose here, great. Now you get to appeal to the guy who just made the case for this settlement. Wow. Which gets us back to, I really think the Browns are going to be calling Baker Mayfield. Either that or they're trading for Garoppolo. I mean, I don't know how Watson's playing for him this year once I found out that the NFL gets to appeal the decision to the NFL.
To the NFL.
Players agreed to this. I got to admit, this is something I would hold out over. I'd be willing to miss checks over this.
Not enough of them will.
No.
Because the fact of the matter is, not that many of them get in trouble. And at the end of the day, they look at it and go, why do I care where disciplinary proceedings are held? Because I'm not going to be in those proceedings.
Until you are. And then you're appealing to Goodell. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local, eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I know what the problem is. On the volume levels, if you exceed it and talk a little loud, sometimes on Twitch it like cuts out. I'll just lower you a little bit.
Okay.
Because he said the good parts is probably a part that you're talking loud.
I wasn't really yelling that segment, though.
No, you weren't at all.
I think this mic shot.
I do too.
I don't think it's the mic. I think it's whatever these controls are. They've peaked out a couple times. So I got the over under. Oh, where did it go? Shane Bacon. I guess it played in a state open qualifier yesterday. Are you reading this?
I'm just reading it myself.
Oh my goodness. Dominican Sue, that's a great point. If 30% of the people making $250 a year are living paycheck to paycheck, we're at a new level of fucked. Yeah, I think that's reasonably accurate.
What is it?
Just, apparently there was a stat that 30% of the people making $250,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. He says if 30% of the people making $250 a year are living paycheck to paycheck, we're at a new level of fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The answer to that is yes.
Talk about the J.P. Peterson thing about the raise in the stadium.
I don't know. I don't have enough info. That's my only problem. I just don't, because the article's in some Tampa business journal that you can't read the article without a. So I haven't been able to figure out what the hell anybody's talking about. Unless JP wants to come on and discuss it tomorrow.
You mentioned Roddy Jones was a standout where? Georgia Tech?
Yeah.
We got a tweet on the ACC schedule. So another one person upset about the Georgia Tech not being on there.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Poll question today at floridasportsnetwork.com. ACC revamped their football schedule beginning in 2023. It's called the 3-5-5, where every school will have 3 permanent opponents. And then with the remaining 10 schools, you'll play 5 one year, 5 the next, and you'll do the home and home thing. And over the course of 4 years, you'll not only play everyone else in the conference twice, you'll play them at least once at home. And there you go. So we ask you, do you like it? You okay with it?
And not everybody is. The vote on Twitter right now is yes, but the no's are making their presence known. It's pretty one-sided with that. But as some of the people pointed out, that just the Florida State fans not happy about not playing Georgia Tech.
I told you.
The Canes fans not happy about Va-Tech. The Florida State fan is not happy about no Georgia Tech.
The 3 permanent ones for Miami, in case you missed it, fortunately, the Noles. But BC and Louisville are the other 2. And for the Noles, besides playing the Canes, they'll play Clemson and Syracuse. Now, they did, I believe, for the 3 Big East schools, Syracuse, Pitt, and Boston College. They have them all playing each other. And, then they figured out a way, like, BC's playing Miami, and a lot of people want to play Va-Tech. When Va-Tech's not on certain schools' schedules, it's got some people upset. Miami fans wanted Va-Tech.
And it was funny. I go back to the early ACC days. Florida State and Va-Tech, there's a lot of memorable games going way back between those two. But Georgia Tech, I get the Atlanta alumni base. Probably, I'm sure outside of the state of Florida, the biggest alumni base in the country, and it's not even close, is going to be Atlanta.
And also think of the money involved with that alumni base, if you can afford to live in the greater Atlanta area. So, yeah, I could see where they're bummed. Now, instead of playing them every year, they'll play them every other year and only once every 4 years at home. So, only 1 game every 4 years in Atlanta versus 2 every 4 years. I mean, doesn't seem like that big a difference, but when you had a chance to go 4 for 4, and obviously many Florida State fan would probably trade Clemson for Georgia Tech. Not only an easier game in the standings, but it actually, up until recently, the Georgia Tech game meant more.
And Big Ten fan, I want you to think right now. I want you to spend the day talking to your other Big Ten friends. I want you to text your Big Ten buddies up north somewhere in Minnesota or Michigan or Ohio. What are we going to do? Because divisions are going away in the Big Ten.
Which I have to ask why. What's wrong with divisions? I don't understand. I mean, in pro sports, we have divisions. They're fine. Now, granted, we have more teams. I get that, but we have divisions, and winning the division has value.
Right. And winning your pod in the SEC might have value too. It'll get you to the conference semifinals, apparently.
Well, and that's the other thing. That's another reason why you and I believe when Oklahoma and Texas join, they're going to go to the 4-14 pods, is because we think the SEC is going to extend their conference tournament. They're going to have a semifinals and a championship game. It's just another revenue stream.
Right. And if Alabama loses the semifinal game, they can still qualify for the playoff. I hate the idea of semifinal games, and they're going to happen. But I do. And David, okay, why do we not need divisions? I think it's a really valid point. But it's a separate discussion because I think you would agree with me that by everything that we're reading and seeing, the Big Ten are doing away with divisions.
Right.
I mean, as much as I would love to have the argument with you whether it's divisions or not divisions, and we can have that argument. But I think the facts are there that it certainly appears that the Big Ten is steamrolling forward with getting rid of their divisions. What system do you want, Big Ten? Do you want to go to 8 conference games? You know, the Big Ten like to pound its chest. We play 9 conference games. We're the premier conference. And these arguments go on. We always talk about the NFL. What's the NFL not going to do? Well, they're not going to do the Trevor Bauer because they don't really want to do what Major League Baseball is doing. They do their own thing. Well, the last thing the Big Ten wants to do is what the SEC is doing or what the ACC is doing. But this schedule doesn't work with 9 conference games.
No, the 3-5-5 doesn't get you 9 conference games. It only gets you 8. I also think it's interesting, talking to Canes and Knowles fans today, or hearing from them anyway, in terms of whether or not they like it or not, the 3 teams that they get. We brought it up a week or so ago in which they were trial balloon with the Big Ten and say, here, this would be your 3 teams and what have you. Like, I think it was Rutgers didn't get Penn State.
Yep.
And I mean, that's just for Rutgers, that would be egregious.
Right. Michigan State and Penn State are going to play so they can play this stupid land grant trophy game. I'm a Michigan State alum. It is the dumbest damn thing. We don't have a rivalry with Penn State. I wish we did. It would be really cool. Penn State's a great program. If Michigan State had rivalries with Michigan and Penn State as a proud Spartan, I think that would be tremendous. We do not have a rivalry with Penn State.
Despite the Big Ten's urging.
Right. Penn State should be playing Maryland, Rutgers, and Ohio State.
They border pretty much all 3. I know technically it's only 2 of the 3, but come on now.
So that's to me who Penn State should be playing. I don't know who Michigan State should be playing. Michigan.
Right. Everything else is probably negotiable. As an alum, is there anybody else that if they weren't on the schedule, you'd be really bummed?
I'd be bummed about the Penn State thing because it's a really good game on the schedule, not because of the land grant trophy.
Gotcha. By the way, if the Big Ten had to add 2 schools to go to 16, who would you go after?
Well, I know it's not going to happen, but
obviously you call Notre Dame.
You call Notre Dame.
But we have to assume there are no.
Here's the thing. I know Pitt would come tomorrow. Could
they
they afford it?
I think Missouri would come tomorrow also.
I do too. And I'd take Pitt before I'd take Kansas.
So if you could, if for whatever reason you sat down business model, you had to go from 14 to 16, you're the Big Ten. The 2 schools, and
my first choice would be, and I'm reaching for the sky. I'm doing what the SEC has done. Notre Dame and USC. That's my first choice.
Well, I will say this. While I think Notre Dame would initially be like, no, I do think the fact that you would say, and we're talking to USC, because that's a big one for Notre Dame.
Right.
It's arguably their biggest for a variety of reasons. And so that would be like,
I mean, that's where I start. I'm starting with the 2 biggest in the land, okay. USC and Notre Dame.
Assuming they're both no's. And by the way, I think they would have a better chance of getting USC than Notre Dame.
I know. And then I might go UCLA. If I'm going USC, I'd go UCLA. If Notre Dame said no. I'd be rating the Pac-12.
Huh. And if by chance you get resistance, then you fall back on Missouri Pitt?
Probably, yeah.
I actually think they could get Missouri. I think Pitt financially couldn't afford to leave the ACC. You'd almost have to work something out, kind of like what the commissioner of baseball is threatening to do with the A's. You don't have to pay a relocation fee. It's almost like the Big Ten would have to say to Pitt, we'll pay your damages to the ACC. Still don't know if they can afford it. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Final thoughts all coming up. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
UConn?
Avery Point to start.
UConn?
Yeah.
All these years we've listened to
I
you
know.
blankety,
Wants to
blankety,
go up.
blankety,
To your dad?
blank.
Wants to go up there. No, just he loves it. I'm going in. He's playing in a showcase tournament in July with Quinnipiac.
I know,
UConn,
but you
Southern
got to
Florida.
admit, I mean, this is rich.
It is.
I mean, you
It's
have
UConn Avery Point. It's not Stores. He is playing in the UConn Stores Contenders baseball camp in August. We're up there. He's enrolled in that.
I know,
UConn
but
Avery Point is like a
Right.
community college, but kids.
I know,
go
but
for
on
2
the
years,
check-
and then they go try to go into the real UConn. But so what?
But on the
You know,
check-
just go.
Right.
Yeah.
But-
So,
but on the check, it will say UConn, right?
probably yes.
Unbelievable.
It's all
That's-
direct.
that's
It's all automatic on the account. You're
That's
you're never
just
going to have to write it.
beautiful.
So there's no chance. 3 years ago at Christmas, when my aunt had 3 bottles of wine in her, and she said, if they want to go to UConn, because she's from there, she goes, I'll pay for it. And I have that on video. Will that hold
Yes.
up with Chinopolis?
Totally.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, you'll win first round. She'll have to appeal.
But see, that's the thing. If my daughter gets into Michigan, I will gladly pay the tuition for her to go to the University of Michigan. Notre Dame would be a lot tougher. I'd pay it. I'd never root for him. I've really thought about that because, with the Catholicism being as big as it is in the household, like we're probably for middle school sending her to St. Francis Xavier
Okay.
and then Varro.
I'm sorry.
Why?
No, I'm a public school guy.
Yeah. I want my daughter to go to the best college possible. And Varro's track record's impeccable.
Oh, good.
But
But with that, I mean, they get kids into those schools. And it's like, I've literally thought about it. Going, this is going to be great. My daughter's going to get accepted into Notre Dame.
I might die of a heart attack. I might laugh so hard. I might. Well, I got double bad news today. Okay. Moulton died. Oh, really? What happened? Well, it's because daughter's going to Notre Dame. Well, why did that upset him? No, it didn't upset him.
It didn't. He just laughed so hard.
He killed himself.
He killed himself.
Mark, who won Wimbledon when you went?
Becker.
Boris?
Yeah. And Steffi beat Martina.
Nice. Martina's from Miami, right?
She's from Czechoslovakia.
Or who am I thinking of?
Capriati.
Maybe Miami women's tennis player. I think my aunt went to high school with her.
Chris Everett is from, I thought, Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, but his
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Sometimes, Felipe, you'll appreciate this. So, back in the day, during our first act here, a consultant came to town. And I think by now the feeling we have towards consultants. Right. But this consultant made a very good point about, listen, a couple of you guys, and at the time, I think we were in our 40s. I don't know if Mark was quite 40 yet. I think he was. And I was by then in my mid 40s. And he basically said, listen, if you're going to try to do like top 40 stuff, you can't reference the Reagan administration. You can't reference this, you can't reference that. And I remember we kind of looked at one another and said, well, that is true. We kind of, give away our age there. We're not really relating to the demographic that we're trying to serve. Okay. We were just talking, the three of us, during the commercial break.
Yep. Because we have Wimbledon on in the background, and I was lucky enough to go to Wimbledon in the late 80s.
And so Felipe asks a very simple question.
I just asked who won when I was there. And I was lucky enough to see the men's and women's final on the same day. So I saw Boris Becker beat Stefan Edberg, and I saw Steffi beat Martina.
And Felipe asked a question about a tennis player that would have grown up where he grew up.
Yeah, and he says, Martina from Miami. I says, no, she's originally from Czechoslovakia. And he goes, I'm trying to think of my aunt went. And I said, maybe Capriati. And David quickly says, well,
Chris Everett.
I think Chris Everett went
from just up the road. And Felipe just kind of gave me this look like, you dumb. All right. But he didn't say it.
Nope.
All right. So, Felipe, just so you know, Mark said it for you.
Yeah, I said you were not talking about our ants, David. Felipe's aunt, the good chance is she's younger than us.
Right. Felipe gave me that look like, you're no help to me. You're just not. Just do the cars.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Was it Megan? No?
Megan what?
There you go. When you were doing this, did you ever have days that you think like you missed something?
Oh,
There
yeah.
wasn't enough on here and you're going, did I? Because today's one of those days to me. So I had to go back and redo it to start in 1613. Go way back today, David, because Shakespeare's Globe Theatre in London burns down during a performance of Henry VIII.
Wow.
1897, the Chicago Colts established an MLB record for most runs scored in a game by one team as they beat the Louisville Colonels 36-7. 1941, DiMaggio breaks Sisler's record, extending his hitting streak to 42. He was just getting started.
Yeah, really. He had another 2 weeks to go.
Right. 1950, big upset, David. The U.S. beats England in a World Cup match 1-0. The next win we would get over England would be in 1994. This is mainly for David. 1957 U.S. Women's Open at Winged Foot. Betsy Rawls wins when apparent champion Jackie Pung is disqualified for signing an incorrect scorecard.
Unbelievable.
And the scorecard's kept by her playing partner. She signed a card that she didn't fill out, disqualified.
They keep score, right? I mean,
it's 57.
No, I understand. But the tournament keeps score, right? You have scoreboards.
I don't know in 57. That I don't know.
Just
definitely no Jumbotron. 58, Pele scores 2. Brazil beats Sweden 5-2 for the World Cup.
Their first World Cup. It's why he'll always be the gold standard.
1963, From Me to You by the Beatles becomes their first song to hit the charts. 1964, the Civil Rights Act of 64 passes after an 83-day filibuster in the Senate. 1974, John Rutsley is replaced as the drummer for this band by Neil Peart. The band would be Rush. He would be known as maybe the greatest drummer ever after that. 1979, the San Diego Chicken is reborn with the same material that he did the year before. 1984, at a live concert in St. Paul, Minnesota, after failed shooting video attempts, the Dancing in the Dark video is done. The live video during the sax solo. This little girl named Courtney Cox at 19 jumps on stage with Bruce. Never hear from her again.
Right.
That same day, Pete Rose passes Yaz with his 3,309th game. 86, Sparky Anderson becomes the first to win 600 in both leagues. Love this one, David. In 1990, Dave Stewart no-hits the Jays, and Valenzuela no-hits the St. Louis Cardinals. First time there was no-hitters in both leagues on the same day.
Both televised live by ESPN. I believe it was a Friday night, and they had the 7 and 10 o'clock or 7:30, 10:30 doubleheader.
92, the NHL decided that Eric Lindros will go to the Philadelphia Flyers instead of the New York Rangers.
How ironic, the Rangers without Lindros would win a cup, and the Flyers with them never would.
94, Purdue selects Glenn Robinson, or Purdue forward Glenn Robinson selected by the Milwaukee Bucks as the first pick in the draft. And it was today in 2007 that the iPhone was released.
Whatever happened to that?
No idea.
Didn't Glenn get more in his rookie contract than what the team was valued at, or no, what
the value of the franchise? His contract was worth more than the franchise
at the time. Like,
yes.
I think Senator Cole, had just purchased the team, And then like a year or so later, Glenn Robinson gets a rookie deal that was for more than what Cole paid for the team.
Those born today that are no longer with us, Slim Pickens and Harmon Killebrew.
Nicest man ever. And not just because he did me a favor once, but literally, I mean, he was the person in Major League Baseball that everybody said, you know, well, whatever Harmon says goes.
Those that are still with us, Gary Busey is 78. I don't know how.
It's unbelievable.
Right? Richard Lewis is 75. Dan Deerdorf is 73. Colin Hay from Men at Work is 69. Rick Honeycutt, 68. Pedro Guerrero is 66. Pepper Johnson, that's for you, David. He's 58 today. Theo Fleury is 53. Martin Truex Jr. is 42. Joe Johnson is 41. And Kawhi Leonard is 31 years old today. And that is today was the day when.
I so Joe.
Yeah. Yeah. Who could probably, in this league, could probably still play.
Oh, for sure.
8 to 12 minutes a night just hanging out in the short corner. Truex, by the way, just announced the word was kind of out that maybe he was going to walk away. And Truex is like, no, I'll come back and do at least one more year.
So my favorite thing about the birth dates is that I go through a website where I get everything, but then I check the MLB, NHL, NFL, and Major League Baseball sites just to make sure I'm not missing anybody. And usually in basketball is where I'm missing. And with the site, the NBA player reference site or whatever it is, they list all the nicknames of every player. That's my little favorite part of it is just the list of nicknames for all these guys. So I was
Also
down with the ISO Joe there.
I will say, you know, that could be a segment, Felipe, that we do with you. We ask you, all right, the NBA nicknames.
Oh, I'd probably be great at that.
There's not much Philly that you don't think you would be great at. It's part of your charm.
It's just,
You know, I drive a William car after all, you know. I mean,
and for the record, Felipe did lose his poll question yesterday.
Part of it was the wording. I think you screwed yourself on this one because people took that as, is it like a chick magnet wagon as opposed to a car that a girl would drive? Like, I think in your phrasing, you hurt your own cause.
I thought about that. I'm not going to lie, but I stuck with it.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Hey, for this good, I don't really ask people to do much, but if you were to buy a hot dog today, I would buy it from this guy. Kelvis Miguel, I believe is how he says his name. He's the hot dog guy. He's been in Lehigh Acres forever until someone shot him. And that's no joke.
Oh, man.
He was shot by a 25-year-old on May the 31st. The guy was acting like he was going to buy hot dogs and then tried to rob him, shot him twice. He's back open for business today. The only way you can get his food until late July is through Grubhub, Uber Eats, or DoorDash. He is the hot dog guy. Buy 10, buy 20, buy 50. I'm sure he could use the cash. He'll be back on his corner. He is hoping to be there on July 19th, which is a day before his birthday. But it's a follow-up of all follow-ups. It's a terrible story. He was always at Homestead Road and Milwaukee Boulevard. That's where he hopes to be back in July. But right now, Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, the hot dog guy. You're doing a good thing. For the bad, we go to Miami, where Nehemiah Harden, known by the stage name Spot. Are you a fan of Spot 'em Got 'em, the rapper?
I don't know who the hell that is.
Neither did I. But I now know him because he led police on a jet ski chase. He was in a restricted speed zone when he started doing S-type turns around anchored boats. When authorities approached him for a traffic stop, he took off, swerving through boats, entered in close proximity with swimmers and anchored boats. Finally, the 19-year-old was apprehended. He faces charges of eluding a law enforcement officer.
What's the name again?
Spot.
One more time.
Spot 'em, got 'em. SP to the OT, baby. Finally, the ugly, we go to Naples, where Mark Dorillas is quite a guy. You see,
was trying to get through a fence, walking through some backyards, knocking down some trash cans, and finally someone in the backyard yelled at him. So he yelled back. And then he did what no sane person would do. He left, came back, continued arguing with the victim in front of their home. As the argument continued, he pulled his pants down, started shouting at the victim while grabbing his stuff. While the police search continued, he proceeded to expose himself to someone who was driving to a Walmart. Finally, he has been apprehended. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, June the 29th, 2022.
By the way, real quick, it was Mary Jo Fernandez.
Oh, okay.
All right, fair enough. The M was what got you going. You knew it was an M-A, M-A-R, and you were right.
Something like that.
No, we got it. Did your aunt know that? Anyway, 8 day games today. Rays with a mighty nooner hosting the Brewers. Over under 10,000.
Under.
I'm going to go over, thinking maybe there's some sort of special with kids and camps.
Gotcha.
And maybe
Gotcha. Could be.
What's the number one more time?
That's a great point.
10 grand. For the record, they did 13,000 last night, but it's a mighty nooner against Milwaukee today.
I could be getting killed on this. Could be 20,000 kids there.
Well, I don't know. It'd be one or the other. I think it's going to be like 18 or 8.
I'll hit the over.
All right. So you're under. We're both over. Marlins in action tonight against the Cardinals, trying to avoid the sweep. A couple of good day games. I mean, Verlander for the Astros against the Mets at 1 o'clock. Braves and Phillies tonight. Red Sox, Blue Jays tonight. By the way, the Red Sox closer, he didn't get the shot. And so when they lost last night with 2 in the ninth, their closer's sitting back at Fenway watching.
Yeah, the media went nuts today in the papers on him.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. This is the downside of playing in the New York, Boston, Philly. All right, because this happened with the Marlins, with the Rays, okay, with 20 other teams in Major League Baseball. It would just be, one of those things. This happens to the Mets, Yankees, Phillies, Red Sox. That's a little different. St. Louis, that's a little different. By the way, longtime listener texted in and said, how about if we do a hot dog eating contest at the corner of where the hot dog guy is?
Hey, I'm all for it.
All right. That when he gets back to the corner, that, maybe, I don't know.
Love it.
Just a way to put a little change in his pocket.
Absolutely.
So
bring your cup of water and get after it.
So don't know how many we'll have to buy, but who cares?
74.5, by the way, is the over-under number for Chestnut. Came out today for the hot dog eating contest. 74.5 is your over-under number if you're looking to make a wager on Joey Chestnut.
Isn't the record isn't that
it's right about there, but he
keeps going one more every year.
I'd go over.
I'm going under on Kobe Chestnut there.
Is it 10 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
I think I could do 30. I definitely think I could do 30. With
you did like 12 in
in 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Right. And that was after I had 2 double cheeseburgers right before it for lunch.
I've got the video, folks. It is one of the more impressive things I've ever seen.
I
mean, 2 guys who thought they were going to actually compete in this were looking at Moulton, giving up within 30 seconds, and David's like, what, no mustard?
I was. Wait, where's the relish? Wait, no, I got to eat these plain? So, hot dog guy in Lehigh. Take care of him, folks.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Where else? Right here, the one and only, the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters.